And now, from the bowels of the internet, it's the HateCasters Podcast.
Greetings, hate fans, and welcome to the Hate Bit Podcast. I'm Yell Chaos. Joining me, as always, Alpha Omega Sin.
I'm flexing my biggest muscle in my pants, all for you.
Razor Fist.
Hello!
And the super smooth, super suave, super something or other, the Marmite lover himself, Sainted Magnus.
Fuck off, you cock.
Loving that Marmite, huh?
I hate Marmite.
Yeah.
Welcome
to our show.
Fucking Marmite.
He hates Marmite. If you just joined us for the very first time, welcome. He hates Marmite, as do I. Marmite is yeast paste, and it will make you die and or British.
What is Marmite?
Now, with all that having been said, I welcome you to the most debaucherous version of the McLaughlin Group, the Hate Bit Podcast. Today, we got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about what's going on in the Nintendo camp, what the fuck they were thinking with the naming of that console. We're going to look in on the PlayStation camp and talk a little bit about their doings in the handheld market. We're going to talk a little bit about Xbox and how they're not doing much of anything. We got a lot in store, so sit back, and we got a rant from your buddy and mine, Razor Fist. So without further ado, we're going to move right into the mailbox. And just a few selections from the mailbox. We'll do a little bit more in our second half. But our first question comes from Christian Ralph, who dropped us a message on our Facebook. And if you don't like us on Facebook, you should. Facebook.com/HateBitPodcast. Drop us any lines you have, anything. Lines. I'm underscoring lines.
Yeah.
And drop it our way. Anyway, Christian Ralph says, "Hey guys, loving the podcast. Was wondering what you guys think about collector's editions, limited editions, holy fuck your wallet editions. Do you think they're worth the extra money, like the Skyrim's collector's edition? Because I thought that was fucking ridiculous for a dragon and whatever else you get with it. Just running what your opinions are for it. Sorry this isn't a message, I'm kind of shy." And then there's some emoticon that I don't know how to read. What do you guys think?
I think the Skyrim... I completely agree with him about the Skyrim Collector's Edition. It was like, what, $200-something, and it was like the flimsiest plastic dragon statue you'll ever come across in your entire life. Another one I thought was utter trash was the first Assassin's Creed. It said, comes with an Altair figure, and I'm thinking, sweet, I'm going to get an action figure. And then this thing comes in the mail, and it comes in a little tin, and Altair is 2 inches tall. He looks like one of those figures you get out of the gumball machines.
Yeah.
It's like, thanks, Ubisoft. Thanks.
Yeah. And I like to put my 2 cents in there, because I do actually buy collector's editions, but I buy the collector's editions when they have come down in fucking price. For example, Duke Nukem Forever. Alright game. Collector's edition is kick-ass. It really is. It's one of the best collector's editions of last year. I waited till that dropped till about £25. It was going for about 60 when it released originally. So I'd say that's fairly worth having. But then you get the shit collector's editions. Now, I'll tell you shit, right? Which one was it? No, I've got it up on my shelf somewhere. No, I haven't. It's actually in the cupboard. That is the Force Unleashed 2 collector's edition.
Oh, God.
That came in a steel book with some DLC and a fucking memory stick with all the pictures that it says all the nice pictures and all the videos and shit like that usually come on a fucking disc.
Yeah.
And it was that was the biggest waste of money I ever paid for a collector's edition. My favorite collector's edition though is, I'm sorry Americans, my Sonic Generations collector's edition. I paid 80 quid for that, and that is actually worth it because it was a birthday present to myself, for starters. It comes with a statue, an art book, a DVD, a soundtrack, a Sonic the Hedgehog ring, a lenticular cover, and a big kick-ass box. So, There we go.
Yeah, I have to admit that's pretty much worth it. Like, I was bummed out that I didn't get to make it stateside because I planned on getting the game. When they said no to the collector's edition, I said, "Oh well, fuck me." The thing is, do you guys remember way back? I'm talking like PS1 era. That seeing collector's editions was like the biggest rarity ever.
Yeah.
And like the only people that were really churning out a collector's edition whatsoever was usually like some of the people like fucking Working Designs, for instance. They would do it because, well, they were godly amongst RPG fans. You know, look at the Lunar 1 box set, Lunar 2 box set, look at Arc the Lad collection. I mean, it was just fucking amazing, everything that they had for it. And I was just like absolutely smitten with everything that they released for it. And nowadays, it's like every other game that comes out has a like real beat up collector's edition that usually includes like next to jack shit to make the purchase even worth it. But hey, when it says limited or collectors on it, people will rush out, beat their fucking dicks just to get it at full price. Or you go to Best Buy and see that there's 1,000 of them because nobody bought them, and then they become cheaper than the regular fucking copy.
Yeah, and usually all these collector's editions come with the generic soundtrack, making of DVD, and a fucking art book. And the art book is usually about fucking 3 pages long and not even worth wiping your ass with.
Yeah, it's 3 pages and this shit'll be in black and white, and they're like, we really put a lot of effort and thought into this one.
Oh, and don't you love that move when they give you the tiny little like the micro fucking art book, and then everything that's in the art book is included in the collector's edition strategy guide anyways?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like, thanks, assholes. I'm glad I could buy the collector's edition so I
One
could get
thing-
this tiny piece of shit.
Why don't they include the fucking strategy guides with it? Like, I remember when companies would put out their own strategy guides. Like Capcom, for instance, way back when Resident Evil 1 came out, Capcom themselves made a strategy guide for Resident Evil 1. If they would have made a fucking collector's edition of that and included it with the game and included, like, I don't know, Jill with the fucking zombie, with a zombie and maybe a tyrant figure, I would have lost my mind, shit my pants, splooged my pants, and would have been taken to the store to buy new pants and not the collector's edition because I was too fucking excited. But that kind of shit, yeah, that's worth the money when you get physical objects, not fucking DLC vouchers and shit like that when you basically get anally fucking raped. And when I say anally raped, I mean you keep your wallet in your back pocket and they're just stuffing their dick through that into your sphincter.
Yes. Well, hey, if you needed a change of underpants, you could have just bought the Catherine collector's edition, right? And gotten those,
But I did.
that pair of boxers.
Dude, those boxers are way too big. Like, I put those bitches up to me, and I was like, what is this? Like, what fat fuck is buying this?
It's a tablecloth.
Why don't you go ahead and have a gander at the Atlas fan base? All right, there's a reason people call it Fatless.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's honestly a very good point. Oh, and also the shirt that they included with it was what, like a fucking 50XL and everything, and it's white on top of that. And it's fucked up because I wouldn't mind sporting a Catherine shirt because I dig the game quite a bit. But the thing is, like, I don't know, man. That shirt was definitely meant for like some fatties. I could include 2 Alpha Megasins into that shirt and still say I got room to breathe in here. It's fucking amazing.
And you say that they're not in touch with the average gamer.
Oh, no.
Dude, but
They were planning ahead.
Or the pervy Japanese collector's edition with the panties instead of the boxers. Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah. No, they
It came
got a full
straight from the used
bedspread.
panty vending machine.
They got a full bedspread, they did.
Question is, were they clean?
Yeah, that's the problem.
If they were clean, that means that fucking consumer in Japan got ripped off. They're just like, what the shit? I want some lady juices in my panties, damn it. What the fuck? This is definitely not what I purchased.
Anyway,
Oh, yeah.
moving on
About
from that.
stimulating the economy.
Moving on from that bits of
Moving on
collector's
to our
editions.
next piece in the mailbag.
I ain't finished yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were moving on to the next piece.
No, I was moving on from the dirty underwear.
Oh. A little squeamish for this podcast, aren't you? Please go on, Mr. Magnus.
Mr. Magnus. The sainted one. Deal with it. Anyway, yeah, the bits of DLC shit that you get in the fucking collector's editions, those I fucking hate. They don't actually have any fucking meaning.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you get this collector's edition, you get DLC and then nothing else. Or maybe like a fucking small fucking figurine that sits in your fucking box, and you're like,
Yeah, the thing is, like, if the DLC vouchers mean next to nothing because here's the thing. Later down the road, when you go to pop that game into the system, you won't have access to any of that shit.
Exactly.
You'll try to go onto the PSN network on Xbox Live Arcade. You won't be doing much of crap. You won't be inputting codes because they no longer offer that fucking service because it's outdated. You should have upgraded to the PS4 and 720, motherfucker. That's pretty much what they're going to tell you. And worse yet is, like, the thing is when they make Game of the Year editions, I like because they include everything on the disc that got put out the entire fucking year. Like Borderlands Game of the Year edition, I bought that bitch for $20, fucking worth every single penny because you got tons and tons and tons of content.
Oh.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, you got. I think you got the 3 DLCs, and then when they released the Game of the Year edition, you got a whole brand new fucking story arc. I love
They
that.
give you. That's what they should do. If you're going to go and make DLC, you should put a lot of effort into it. And that's why, like, when I talked about the Batman one recently, I don't mind that because, I mean, they're giving you more story of what happens after Arkham City. You get to see what happens with Harley Quinn. She has, like, her own fucking gang now and everything. You get to run around Gotham with using Robin, which may not seem like a big deal, but he controls really fucking well on a challenge map. So I think that's pretty fucking awesome.
Oh, I'm actually looking forward to popping that in when it comes out on May 29th, I believe.
Yepers.
Yepers. And then we get it that following Friday, so...
Yeah, I really wish the only thing that I honestly have to agree with a lot of people, though, is the cover of that game is atrocious. If you guys have seen it, it's basically Batman's head with tons and tons and tons of text all around it of what magazines gave it scores and what they said, how many fucking women they impregnated from fucking excitement of just being able to play the game and all the other shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the game was good. I don't understand Game of the Year awards for Batman Arkham Asylum though. I still don't. I didn't understand the first game getting it. It was okay. I didn't think it was like it didn't cure cancer for me though. You know, like Deus Ex Human Revolution to me deserves a Game of the Year award. The Batman Arkham Asylum, great game, but I don't know. That's just me though.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Well, I mean, everybody's going to have their own game of the year. That's the thing. Like, I never understand when people are, like, mad when you tell them, this is my game of the year. And they're like, oh, how dare you say that over this game? And it's like, but I just said it was my game of the year. And they're just like, no, a difference of opinion. I'm pooing and peeing right now. And then a blood vessel pops in their fucking forehead all over the place.
And then they
Clean
die
that
of a
up.
brain aneurysm.
If only that happened.
They would hope to die of a brain aneurysm after all that.
I'd hope.
After the peeing and pooping, most definitely.
After the peeing and pooping, imagine trying to get over that.
Well, yeah, you can get over it.
We're getting really highbrow around here.
Yeah, I know.
Hey.
You know, we're getting too big for our britches, man. We gotta calm down.
Yes.
You got any more email?
Yeah, we're moving on to the next part of the email. This next one comes from a fabulous chap named, I cannot pronounce his name. And he asks, can I be a guest on the podcast?
No.
I've had a pretty interesting life in terms of video games and such. I worked for a video game company before. Hey, thanks a lot. I love the podcast. P.S. Don't read this on the next episode.
Oops.
Uh-oh.
Oops.
Oh, well.
Well,
SpaghettiOs. We move on.
Wah, wah.
SpaghettiOs.
the short answer is no. No.
No, we'll let you know when there's an audition in place. There'll be a video. You know, you have to roll naked through broken glass, things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's flaming glass, by the way.
Flaming glass?
Yes.
No.
That sounds expensive.
No. You take a couple bottles of liquor, smash them on the ground since they're covered in liquor, just light the bitches on fire, and there you go. Flaming glass.
There's a nice bar in San Francisco called the Flaming Glass.
I don't want to go there.
It's right next to Flaming Moe's.
There's also a bar that I heard of called the Backdoor Inn. Do you want to go there?
Right next to it'll be right next to the lesbian bar I'm gonna open called the No Fly Zone.
next to the Blue Oyster.
It's Glam Slammers Friday.
We are
Drinks
so
are
perverted. We are so perverted. It's fucking awesome.
Oh, it's great, man. You know, people let their kids listen to this shit. I understand.
Yeah.
I know.
Go to bed. You should not be listening to
Go
us.
to bed.
By
You're
the
not
way,
supposed to do this.
if your parents walk in, then they don't have to explain the birds and the bees because we did it for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
All right, and we have one more piece of mail before we move into the main part of our show. This comes from Warcry of the Angel, YouTube user Warcry of the Angel. And he says, I feel you guys are the ones to sympathize, whether being fans of the Bulletstorm series or not. I freaking love that game. I love that it was a first-person shooter, not colored with a new shade of baby shit green like Call of Duty or Battlefield. I love the tongue-in-cheek dialogue, the technical skill shot system, and above all else, I like seeing a hero that wasn't with tits and a combat rifle. I blame the game's shortcomings on replayability and multiplayer on the developers. It was the perfect game to do offline split-screen co-op with. Warcry the
Bulletstorm? Are we talking about this
preposition?
Are we talking about?
Well, hold on. We're almost done. They could have made expansions to it similarly to how Bethesda did Fallout, yet they blame the fans for pirating the PC port. Not because it required people to be online to play it even in a snorri mode campaign, certainly not because the multiplayer mode, albeit fun for the first month, was still limited in capacity. Why don't they just come out and admit that all they want on deck for their Gears of War prequel project? If they're gonna be cocks about it, at least they can do is be honest. Jeez. Well, we'd be happy to answer your question if we thought you asked one.
Yeah. Second off, who wrote
that?
Second off, who the hell wrote that? Who says "Geez"? Are you Charlie Brown?
Good
Seriously.
grief.
Do we look
Good
like
grief.
gangsters? I don't think we look like a gangster last time I checked. Long hair? No. Beard? No. Baggy pants? No.
I guess he just wanted to get something off his chest, but I could have swore there was a question in there somewhere. But Warcry of the Angel, we thank you for taking up at least a few minutes of the Hate Bit podcast. And now on to...
Well, here, let me input one thing just real quick. I agree, Bulletstorm was an amazing game, and its shortcomings I do also agree on, because it was absolutely fucked online beyond understanding. I couldn't get online with that game once. The skill shot system was amazing. I would love to see a sequel to the game. It probably won't happen, though, because, it just didn't sell super well. If something doesn't sell 15 million copies, it's irrelevant, apparently, to most publishers. But, yeah, I did like it. It's essentially what... it kind of reminded me of, like, Duke Nukem in a lot of ways with the characters and everything, so I like that. Anyway, that was it. I just wanted to give 2 cents.
I don't know much about the Bulletstorm series. I just wonder what this guy has against tits and combat rifles. That's what I want to know.
I love
Yeah,
tits and combat rifles, so...
I just
And
love
yet-
tits.
And
Yeah.
yet he wants to get something off his chest. Apparently, I tell you what,
Apparently
buddy.
so.
Go ahead and give us your girlfriend's number, and we'll get something off her chest. instead.
And we'll put something new on it. But that's another story.
I just plan on
Moving in-
putting something new in her.
Oh, no, you didn't.
See,
Yeah, we
I'm
can name
straight to the
it.
point.
All
Yeah, gotta
right.
snap the fingers, everybody. Snap them back and forth.
Anyway,
Alpha Pegasus, he'll be here till Thursday. Anyway, moving on to our first topic of discussion, like we need any of those around here. For those of you who know, and for those of you who don't know, I'm going to tell you, E3 is right around the corner, 5.5 weeks out from E3. Lots of big horizon, and of course, the one that's on everybody's lips, Nintendo's Wii U. And we here at the Hate Bit Podcast wonder, Wii U? What the fuck? Now,
I
myself, it's a really cute name in that it's really much too clever for its own good. It's for Wii and it's for you. Fabulous. What does that have to do with anything?
Dude, they should call it the Wii. They should call it the Wii U Fabulous. Like Wii U Fabulous.
Wii U
Well, buddy.
fabulous.
They may as well call it the Nintendo Every One. EVRY 1.
Dude, there's a couple people that had said the Nintendo Nexus, and I thought that was a pretty cool name.
You know what I'm hoping? I'm hoping that
Next
down
gen.
the road, consoles begin to use bits in the names again. So down the road, it'll be like Nintendo 7,056,000,056.
Dude, I would dig that. And like big numbers fucking intimidate people. If your numbers are bigger than that other person's numbers, then they're inadequate.
Exactly.
It's gonna fuck with Xbox and just call it the Nintendo 1080. Yeah.
Dude, think about this. Whenever the fucking Genesis / Mega Drive came out, it had 16-bit right on the front of it. Just like in your face, Nintendo. Suck that dick, motherfucker. We're 16 bits. You're half of us. Half of us, bitch. You have half the boner we do.
And then Nintendo said, yeah, well, we got 90% of the market, so,
And they were like, "Oh," and then their boner shrank.
I hate math! Anyway,
But the Wii U name, what do you all think of it?
The Wii U, the name. What's with the name? They got 5 weeks to get a good name and tell us what it is. Because E3 is it. Once your product drops at E3, that's it. That's official. You can't take it back. Because kids are going to spend the entire summer getting great big boners over what they want for Christmas. So now is the time. What are we thinking, gentlemen? Alpha Omega Sin just did a video all about this, and now he's going to tell us more because you can't see him, but I can see him. He's foaming at the mouth.
I am.
Alpha, what's up, man?
I had to wipe the foam from my mouth. Hold on. Okay, I'm done. That was a good espresso latte, whatever the fuck. No, I don't drink those things. They suck. So anyhow, now that I'm done talking about Starbucks type products, the Wii U name, I don't like it. They should go with something else instead of just going and trying to play off the success of the Wii brand name. I know a lot of people could possibly say, well, it doesn't really matter. It's a game, so it matters. And that is really true because, that's what it boils down to. They could call it the Nintendo shit bucket. Personally, I would love that name. And I would buy it in a heartbeat just based off of that. It could have no fucking games on it. And I'd just be like, what are you doing? I'm just hanging out with my Nintendo shit bucket. And that's fucking fantastic.
And it would be brown.
Dude, yeah, it's a brown fucking system, like chocolate brown. I would fucking love it. It'd be great. It could even have like its own little docking station, which is a toilet. Fucking awesome. But the thing is, the name is it's fucking rubbish. The Nintendo like Project Cafe was better. The name Dolphin was better. VR32 is remotely better. VR fucking 32 is 2 letters 32 and associated with fucking Virtual Boy, and it's better. What the shit?
Well,
so yeah, that's my thoughts.
Wii's a terrible name to begin with. I didn't like the name Wii, and not only that, but the Wii wound up being what? It ended up being pretty much a flash in the pan. It was hugely successful for a 2-year span, or a little under that. And then it just dropped off the face of the Earth, and it's currently plummeting toward the Earth's core.
Well, that's only because they've decided to kill it on their own.
And regardless of the causality, what matters at the end of the day is it's a complete flash in the pan. So why would you name your second system after it? Because it doesn't have much value in terms of brand recognition anymore. You know what I mean? Nobody plays it. Most people have traded it in. Why wouldn't you just come up with a new name?
Well, that's the thing. I understand they still want to marry this concept with the previous Wii brand, which was huge for them. This machine, which was essentially 2 of their previous machines stacked together, proved that you did not need superior technology to dominate a market, at least for some span of time. But now they clearly have made an effort to make it seem as though they want to divorce themselves from that previous brand image. However, they are doing quite the opposite by, it seems, more or less clinging to, like Razor has said, a brand name that is essentially perpetually making sure they stay where they are or where they were and not letting them, spread their wings and do something else.
Spread your wings and come on. Come on. Nobody's going to sing Queen with me. Go fuck yourself. Anyways.
Sainted, you have to have some kind of opinion on this because you've been relatively quiet.
I have been relatively quiet because, to be quite honest, I've only just discovered the Wii recently, as in actually playing decent games on it. And the whole idea of having a tablet PC for a fucking controller, it's just stupid. How many more buttons do we need to fucking play a game? And the name, Wii U, fuck's sake.
I love how disgusted you sounded when you said Wii U. Like, both times that you said the name, like, I could actually see the disdain in your face. Like,
yeah, he's like just curling his lip on one side, just ugh.
It's just a pointless name. It's like when they came up with the fucking, the Wii, the name for that. I was like, what? Can't they just come up with something more original?
Well, it's the thing for me on the name Wii. I was under the impression, and apparently I was misled. Apparently, Wii means we, a room of people referred to. We play together. I was under the impression it was like we, like when you're having a good time and you refer to yourself as some other people, you go down a slide and go Wee. No. That's what I assumed, and that's ballsy. That's ballsy to assume that your machine symbolizes fun.
You know what? How I think we're approaching this wrong. What if they've never had a sequel to the original Nintendo? They had the Super Nintendo, they had the Nintendo 64. They've never had the Nintendo 2. But I think they should modernize the concept a bit. I think they should do like movie sequels now. It should be Nintendo Armageddon or Nintendo Extinction or Nintendo
Electric Boogaloo.
It'll be a prequel to the Nintendo. It'll be 1-bit. It'll
Oh.
be Nintendo Begins.
Nintendo,
we
the
could,
Phantom
call
processor.
it, they could call it Nintendo Revenge.
Yes.
You know what
Oh.
a great name? I think would be a great name would be the Nintendo 6. Nintendo and a VI because it's number 6.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it's the 6th Nintendo console, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, Nintendo VI.
Nintendo 666.
The number
go.
of the beast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, the thing is, whenever it
They're
comes
not
to
to release that
console
Devil World
names,
game.
even if somebody says that a game console name is irrelevant, and that is true to a certain degree, but the thing is, for however many years that you're on the market, that's going to be the thing that pops up in people's minds, and that's a first impression also whenever you're bringing out your system. When the Xbox, they call it the Xbox 360. They kept with the Xbox brand name. Sony, they kept it with PlayStation. They just add a different fucking number on the end, and nobody bats an eye because they like the name. So Nintendo, I don't know. Maybe they'll just call it the Nintendo Entertainment System again because it's just a box
think
of
that's what they
entertainment.
were, well, I think they were trying to hold on to the Wii because apparently PlayStation 2 and 3, that's working for everyone else. So maybe stick with the brand name they've already established. But my point of view really is that, God damn it, now I'm all mad. You made me all mad.
That's the whole point of this podcast.
I know.
Look
No,
at us. We've wrestled as Jimmies.
I know, man. It's ridiculous. You know, oh no, I'm all pissed. You guys go ahead.
Good. Oh,
My head's gonna fucking just pop right now.
I'll let it pop. Anyway, why don't they just name it like they name one of their television shows? The Nintendo Super Fun Box that goes bang, sort of thing.
So now we're naming bands now, I guess. We're just coming up with hipster bands. So we're like this, the Nintendo system that you'll like a whole lot is, oh my god, waffles and cheese. Like, there you go. Now you have a system.
No. He's talking about like Japanese game shows, like Nintendo Super Fun Climax Hour Explosion.
In
Dude,
your
I would buy
pants.
that. I'm dead serious. I'd fucking buy that just so I could say the name out loud to people and be like, that's what I'm playing right now. You
Yeah.
won't
Nintendo Super Happy Box White.
Just imagine how big the box would be if it had a title like that.
Yeah.
That's fine.
It'd
If they
have
call it,
a big cartoon cat head on it or something.
Yeah.
yeah, and it's gotta have lots of bright, big, bold, fucking bright colored
They
lines.
still have a mustache.
Yeah, it makes it sophisticated. I like that.
I think they should make it Mario Red from day one.
I think that they should go and have Mario from day one included in the box, just like with the very first Nintendo, because it will fucking sell.
No,
That's what I want to say.
they'll sell a collector's edition for Mario 4 with a pair of Peach's soiled panties.
Yeah.
And we come back to the lady
Lining up
juices
this
from
right
the
now.
mushroom
Little-
king lady juices. All right.
Yeah, you got to get that Toadstool Menses on there because that's
Oh,
That's how they do it in the Mushroom Kingdom, you know. But no, I think that them trying to cling on to the Wii. I'm sorry, I didn't mean for that to come off that way. But I think hold on to the brand identity as the Wii is a mistake because I don't think Iwata and Miyamoto and Fils-Aimé, Jesus Christ, I don't think they understand that there are people who absolutely hate their previous machine, and if they're trying to reach out to those people, it's not a good idea to rub a dog's nose in shit if you're trying to show them happy birthday.
yeah. There's a reason there was never a GameCube 2. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
but the GameCube was an awesome system.
It was, but it was underappreciated because Nintendo shot themselves in the foot with the N64.
Yeah, because they didn't give us any third-party support.
Well, it wasn't that. They made a machine that was too complicated to be worked with at the time, and they did it as some sort of an elitist measure, and it totally, backfired. And then no one wanted to deal with the GameCube, and that's where we are now. They had to take the cute route, which was a bold statement at the time. They kind of said, "Oh, you're doing that? Well, fuck you. We're going to be the cutest goddamn video game company you've ever heard of."
Ever.
and it fucking worked. I cannot believe it.
Yep, you're gonna boot up your Wii and you're instantly gonna contract diabetes.
Diabetes. Dude, we
got
gotta
it
have the
in
big
there.
curly mustache too.
We got it
Go
in
get
there.
diabetes.
Oh,
Wait, that's not more like Hank Hill. Oh, Bobby, don't get the diabetes.
Now, see, you guys listening, you guys didn't get to hear what was going on before the podcast, but Razor Fist made a bold assertion, and we all agree that Bret Michaels should take over for, as the face of diabetes from Wilford Brimley.
Yes.
I really think that he should take over for Bosley, but that's just me.
You know, after a night of coke binging and banging random slags, I get my medical supplies from Liberty Medical.
Liberty.
I'm so glad you used the term slags. This makes this podcast my favorite, just because he said banging random slags. I am so fucking happy. For anybody at home that is happy that he said that, I salute you. To anybody who isn't, fuck you, because that was awesome.
I'm sat here with a big fucking cheesy grin because he actually
banging random dude. I'm totally saying that. If somebody like calls me on my phone and be like, "Hey, where are you at?" I'm like, "I'm out banging random slags." That'll make me happy. They'll be like, "What?" I'm like, "My friend Razor Fist told me to do it. I'm out banging random slags and getting diabetes from doing it. It's fucking awesome."
Oh man.
Diabetes.
They're pricking my prick.
Diabetes.
Anyway,
So if you didn't know it,
fuck
the new
kids.
Nintendo Slag is going to be fantastic.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah, that's what we
There you go, the new Nintendo Slag.
Banging out random games. Gotta love it.
Right, well this
This
week's
one's got a wider slot.
this week's Facebook challenge for you guys then is to come up with a better name for the next Nintendo console other than Wii fucking you,
Yeah,
What
do
about
it.
the
which is
Nintendo
what they seem to like to do.
I think Nintendo Slag is already leading in that regard.
Yeah, it's got 4 thumbs up, and another thing, the one that gets the most thumbs up will be featured on next week's podcast.
That's right.
Oh,
I would
I like that. That's good.
Yeah.
I think
So.
that means I'm going to have to read those, but okay.
It's all right. I'll keep an eye
It's
on
going
it.
to be fucking entertaining because my time is valuable. Not nearly as valuable as Alpha Omega Sins, but still. Moving on. Are we all
time
done?
isn't valuable at all.
Slagging on the Wii U.
Wii U. Sucks balls. Suck balls.
All right. Well, that moves us into our next topic of discussion. It comes from an article that I'm titling PS Vita. What the fuck? Razor Fist got a lot to say. Razor Fist, you didn't hear him earlier, but he was just going fucking mad. So, Razor Fist, what were you saying PS Vita?
Oh, not much. Just little things like, a couple weeks ago when we were talking about the Vita,
Mhm.
and I told you guys that it was being outsold 7-1 by the 3DS, and that we were all like, oh shit, and a silence fell over the room. We had a moment of silence for the Vita. Now apparently those look like the good old days because it's now being outsold by the 3DS by 9-1. The 3DS is sold. What was the last figure I saw was something like 73,000, and the Vita barely scratched out 8,000. So it's physically painful, and that's in Japan where they're supposed to have their greatest grasp on the marketplace. Although in Europe, for some reason, it's doing pretty well. I don't know, man. Sainted, your home country seems to like to bend over and take it up the butt for the Sony money cock. You know what I'm talking about.
Well, you're only having a dig at me because I like Sony products.
I know.
You fucking Xbox fanboy.
Uh-oh, we got the term fanboy being slung around. Everybody?
Oh,
fucking-
no.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes.
If we're calling fanboys, I'm in favor of the TurboGrafx 16, by the way.
Fucking turbo fanboy.
Okay, you want to know what? That's it. I'm throwing this down. Fuck all your systems. The Gamecom. Tell me you can
Oh!
find
Oh.
somebody to compete with this. It's got Resident Evil 2 and Duke Nukem and a touchscreen. Fuck the 3DS. I got a Gamecom. I can't even fucking do this with a straight face. This is
If they could have bought
fucking horrible. Somebody
Nintendo
listen.
single screen.
Dude, people are gonna be okay. Seriously, folks, if you're listening, type in Tiger game.com into anything that you can, into fucking Google, Bing, fucking YouTube, whatever. It is the biggest pile of fucking shit ever.
And
Thing
you'll
is
love
fucking
it.
horrible.
Great,
I
just-
opened one and it's horrible.
Uh,
Horrible.
It is horrible. But just going on to the Vita, you know, it's a bold statement, but the Vita, I've not had enough experience with it to form a solidified fucking opinion. But from all the shit that I've heard about the pricing, the fact that all the accessories are fucking overpriced, all the games are very, very lackluster at the moment. They've had quite a bad launch with this one, and you look at the Japanese market, it didn't sell at all very well. Look at the American market, it sold a bit better but not as good, and over here it's selling pretty good, mainly because we're comfortable with Sony products. We always have been. The PlayStation was more popular over here than it was in America and Japan. Sega had the same experiences with the Mega Drive. So I think we just know what we're looking for in a console, so we just go for the first one.
Yeah, you're looking for an overpriced piece of shit with no games that I want to play.
Well, fair enough. If you don't want to play them games, you don't want to play them games.
Sean was also a big fan of the Betamax.
But I just like to point out, and actually answer this question: how many Xboxes have you had? How many Xbox 360s specifically have you had since?
Believe it or not, I actually bought mine at launch in 2005, and the only reason I had to replace it was because I knocked it off of my wall unit, and it broke. But it fell like 15 feet, so I'm not holding that against Microsoft. But yeah, that's the only time I've ever had to replace it. So I've had two.
So you've had two. I've had one PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
How long's the
Well, if you had
PlayStation
more
3?
than one, then you got bigger problems than you're willing to discuss.
No, I've had one because it's never gone wrong. It's the PlayStation 3 Fat.
First generation?
Still works fine. It's not a 60 gig. It's
Not
a
a 60 gig,
40 gig. But I've upgraded it since, and it's got a bigger hard drive in it.
But it doesn't
And
have
it-
the full backward compatibility.
Doesn't need it because I still got my PlayStation 2 that works.
Nice.
Well, good luck with that, because we all know how the disk drives on the PS2 work.
The ARM still works. So
I'm just
suck
I'm just saying-
my PlayStation money cock then, boy. So believe it or not,
Well,
if you look, this is what people have problems with, right? If they don't look after the consoles, they're gonna break. Xbox 360s, I've had 3 of the fuckers. 2 went wrong, and 1 I got rid of because I got sick and tired of the fucking bullshit that goes with the damn system.
yeah.
I can play online with my friends for free on a PlayStation 3. Yes, the fucking network went down, but it's never been better since it come back on.
Yeah, but here's the thing, and this is my
Wait. If you've just joined us, we thank you for joining us here on Fanboy Wars. Continue.
I'm just
The
waiting for somebody
PSN
to come weighing in with the Nintendo size 9s.
And this is my issue. Once again, I'm not a Microsoft fanboy. I hate PlayStation. It's not that I like Microsoft. I detest Microsoft. They haven't released any decent games in like 3 years. But PlayStation is the antichrist of the video game industry. And the fact of the matter is, the PSN, yeah, it's free. You can play with your friends, but you get what you pay for. And that was evidenced by the fact that it went down for over a month last year, month and a half. And when it works, it's not particularly good. As a matter of fact, there are games that the developers have actually avoided adding an online component on PSN specifically because the network is so slipshod. Virtua Fighter 5 was released as a launch, I believe it was a launch title for the
It
PS.
was, aye.
And it was originally an exclusive. When it was brought over to the Xbox 360, it had an online component, and when the lead developer was interviewed on the subject, he said the reason why we didn't do it is because the PSN isn't very good. They didn't have good servers. So we didn't feel comfortable with releasing an online component on the PS3.
It has got
So-
better since the outage last year, though. I will say that, because Gran Turismo 5 is as reliable as ever.
Well, that's good. We're glad you're happy with your console.
I'm
And
happy with
Razorfist,
that.
we're glad you're happy with your console. But we were talking about the PlayStation Vita. Before
Yeah.
we get back into the PlayStation Vita, I want to say, you guys, like I said, you guys just got here, but I get to hear Razorfist talk all the time. And he was talking, and he made a joke that he didn't make in his initial statement here with the article, and that is that the PS Vita sold 8,000 units. That is 8,000 more units than he's sold, and he didn't even release a video game console.
Crazy.
Anyway, Alpha Omega Sin, what are your thoughts on the PlayStation Vita?
The Vita, honestly, I'm waiting until they have a second-gen Vita, just like I did with the PSP. Because whenever they brought the PSP initially, it had those dead pixel problems, and it was kind of just a piece of shit. The only thing good about a PSP 1000 is it's the easiest one to hack. Easiest. Beyond that, the current gen Vita, you can't swap out the battery, and the battery on it is rubbish. That's a fucking fact. I don't give a shit what anybody says. It's a portable handheld device, and you can't be that portable with it without having to go and charge it over and over again. So that's not good. And the price needs a drop. That's look into the 3DS. The 3DS was fucking flailing for a Nintendo handheld. That's unheard of. It was flailing till they dropped the price. Once they did, it sold like fucking hotcakes. Now it's stomping the competition and stomping its previous records that it set whenever it brought out Game Boy Advance, fucking the DS, etc., etc. So Vita, if you have an uphill battle, do it right. Drop the price, make a better battery, and just keep a lot of exclusives. That's it.
Yeah, I agree. Pretty much what I would say. And
The only thing I really have to say about the PS Vita, I have handled one, and my God, they feel expensive.
Yeah.
Or at least like they were designed to feel expensive. It's like you've got like, was this made by Godiva? It just has that feeling about it. I don't get this touch screen on the back. I mean, maybe if I played it for a decent duration, I would. But
I don't see that thing being relevant. The back screen touch panel, that's just silly. That's tacked on for no reason. And you want to know it? At the end of the day, 15 games are going to fucking utilize it. That's it.
No, 3.
Well, it's for me when I see one, because I'll see them at the toy store or wherever I happen to be. And I'll see the display, and there's never any more than 4 games available. There's the Uncharted game, and then whatever else. And I know that it comes on a little bitty chip that's smaller than a fucking SD card, and it doesn't come with any literature, so I feel like an asshole just for looking at it.
Yeah.
I feel like I am being duped, but just by looking at this fucking thing,
And the
maybe
name,
it's maybe.
And the name also throws me. For me, if you start a sentence with Vita, it better end with Mita Vegamin, and Lucille Ball better be on fucking screen. Because it's just a stupid fucking name. Okay, I think it's Greek for life or something like that. Oh, fantastic,
Yes.
whatever.
Yeah,
that is
but-
no name for a video game console. What the hell is that?
I'd much rather they kept NGP. NGP worked. It sounded the business.
I personally think
Or
they
just
should just stuck with PSP 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, PSP 2. Why not PSP 2? Or
Because the thing is, it would have made more sense because it would have coincided with PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3. Just call it PSP 2. A lot of people already knew what a PSP was, even if they didn't own it or cared to own it. You knew what a PSP was.
Or like
And
we were
the thing
talking
is, it's
about.
still selling in Japan, so fuck it, why not?
Yeah, like we were talking about earlier, we could do PSP Extinction, PSP Armageddon,
PSP
Outbreak.
Revenge, it's even bigger and badder.
PSP Returns.
The
But, I mean,
PSH.
the thing is, I actually want to see the Vita succeed a whole lot. Even if you hate the Vita and you love Nintendo's handhelds, or you don't even care about handhelds in general, you want the competition to succeed because that's the only way that consumers get the most bang for their buck, because that means that everybody's trying their hardest to ensure that they can stay relevant, stay around, and still be a company. Without competition, you grow lazy. Look at fucking WWE. I know it has nothing to do with it, but it's just a fucking
No,
example.
that's a perfect analogy.
When you have no competition around, you become relaxed because you know that you're the hot ticket in town because you're the only fucking ticket in town. And that's it. So everybody will come forth and do that. The Vita, it needs to succeed just to keep the handheld market booming. And especially when you have like the fucking iPhone and Android market pretty much like stepping up their game to a certain degree. And a lot of indie developers are going there offering games for $1, a motherfucking dollar. Yeah, you need to go and start churning out some stuff to really turn heads. Drop the fucking price, change the battery. That's my 2 cents, man.
That works for me. Move on.
Yeah. All right. Yes, sir. Moving on down the list. Are we still going to talk about Batman Arkham City being Game of the Year?
Yay. Move
Well,
on.
you were so excited. You go ahead then.
Well,
Sorry. Sainted Magnus!
Shut up. Basically, it's just going back to the whole collector's edition sort of thing. We pretty much said what we wanted to say on that. It's just basically a re-release of the original game with all the DLC. Either going to be as one fucking code where it downloads all at once, or it's going to be on the disc. I hope it's on the disc.
It better be on the fucking disc.
I agree. Better be on the fucking disc. If it's not on the fucking disc, Warner Brothers, go and eat a dick. Move on.
Well, I'm glad we didn't, spend too much time on that. Anyway, let me see what's next. Oh, you know what? This is the segment that we're trying to make it not seem as though we're segueing into, but it's time for What Are We Playing? And
it's time for the video game circle jerk.
Yeah,
right?
video
game
circle
circle jerk.
And we need a jingle for that, I think.
The video. Wait, no.
It's the video game circle jerk. The video game circle jerk.
Video game circle jerk, and you better.
It's coming to town.
Yeah, and there's 4 of us too. Oh, and whenever we have a guest on, they get to sit in the center and catch all of it. Hooray!
Woo!
Hooray!
You say we're not fans of the Japanese. I say otherwise.
Yeah,
Boom.
arcing.
Makai!
That's all I'm saying. You get to sit in the middle and catch all those arcing ropes of hate-bit jism on your chin. Come on. Now.
Hate-bit goodness.
That's a nice pearl necklace that you're wearing. Lovely.
Yes.
It's
And we'll tattoo on the head, your nickname will be Petrie.
Makai!
That's all
Anyway,
I'm saying.
Great Fit, since you're the one with the solid rope.
That's intimidating,
No,
man.
dude,
A
I don't
solid
even-
rope at jism. Woo.
No, it's not even called a rope anymore. It's rigging now. Oh yeah,
Oh.
Show off.
You need a jib and everything,
the jib. Yes.
Does he know what a jib is?
Oh.
So I've been playing through. I've been playing through Silent Hill Downpour because I got a new review coming out sometime this week. Editor's coming along really fast on it. That's what she said. Anyways, and I have also been playing Deus Ex Human Revolution. I've been playing through that for a 4th goddamn time because that game is goddamn fantastic. And just to round off the number, I'd like to say goddamn 2 more times. And
Goddamn.
yeah, goddamn.
Goddamn.
And I've been playing through Thief 2 again. And that's pretty much where I'm at. They're all friggin' fantastic. I really enjoyed Silent Hill Downpour. I think it's a nice return to form for the series, actually. Not quite as good as the first 4. Still really good. But it's better than Homecoming, which is not hard.
Everything is better than Homecoming.
I actually...
Wii U is better than Homecoming.
I'm not actually a Homecoming hater, as it were. I thought it was okay. I liked some of the things they added. The story is a little on the derivative side, but
I like the 17 TVs that you could lug around with you and cycle through.
No, you're thinking of Origins. I really didn't.
Oh,
I didn't
well, fuck me. I am mixing them up.
Yeah,
well, I'm going to lump them all together and just call them all shit then. Except for Shattered Memories. Shattered Memories is the one that I was actually very upset with.
Yeah, Origins was the one where you could have the IV stand and the color TVs and the LCD monitor and the partridge in a pear tree and the fucking 2 French.
Why did they do that? That's something that bewilders me. How did that seem better than just giving you a weapon?
Well, not only that, but it was like you could hit someone exactly once with a television and it would break immediately.
Yeah, and it's like
what's
off to the
the point of
16th
that?
TV, now the 15th, now the 14th.
But then you whip out an aluminum IV stand that some Korean child put together in 5 1/2 seconds, and you can hit somebody 20,000 times with that thing and it won't break. It's like, what?
Wait, you know what? Actually, I do remember something about Homecoming I do like quite a bit. Some of the bosses in it had really badass fucking designs.
Oh yeah,
it's like that. That was something I did like, despite the fact that I wasn't very smitten with the game, and I did accidentally go and mix up with Origin. I really just have it in my head that battle systems in Silent Hill, all of them are just horrendous fucking heaps, but still.
Homecoming was a little better. It was a little more responsive. You could dodge. The one thing they hadn't added yet was you couldn't fight hand to hand yet, and that was kind of cool. About Origins added that, but that was about the only good thing they added. And Yeah, I just thought it was better in general. Also, there was battle damage. When you hit monsters, they took battle damage. It mostly looked like somebody was just rubbing lipstick on them, but still. It was pretty. And but yeah, that's about it for me. I like the game. Downpour is definitely better than Homecoming, though. So if you like Silent Hill, and especially if you like the open world exploring kind of aspect and like the old school Silent Hill feel, there's a lot more of that in the game.
Yeah, I remember talking to you about the game just like briefly, but you had said that you definitely think that out of like ever since Silent Hill 4, they've had Western developers, but this is like the best of that bunch by far.
Without question. Without question.
There you have it, folks.
Ooh.
Ooh, fancy.
Ooh.
Well, Sainted Magnus, what are you doing?
I am playing Final Fantasy IV Complete on the PSP.
Good
Absolutely loving it. I would like to get the Super Nintendo version of the game for my Super Nintendo because I've actually got a Wings adapter so I can play American games. Another game I'm playing is Phantasy Star Portable 2, also on the PSP. I'm a big fan of the Phantasy Star series, so to actually play it on a handheld and take it on the bus for me is awesome. Going a bit old school now to the Mega Drive. I've been playing Power Rangers the movie on Genesis on a Mega Drive. Absolutely fantastic side-scrolling beat 'em up. If you've never played it, get it on emulator, buy a cartridge of it, and just play it. It is fucking awesome. And it's
Be impressed,
two-player.
folks. It's a video game-based movie, and it's good.
And it's fucking good. It's actually better than the Power Rangers game that they made for the Mega Drive. Because that's basically like a beat 'em up with just 6 Power Rangers and 3 fucking enemies that you fight. The Super Nintendo version is terrible, by the way. All Super Nintendo games that relate to Power Rangers are terrible, except for the Fighting Edition.
That one I like quite a bit.
I'm actually after that one. And lastly, I have been playing that god-awful Kid Icarus fucking got prizing on the 3DS, where it's like trying to control a fucking bus with your feet.
Yeah.
One of the things I absolutely hate about that game is the fact that I'm left-handed, and I need to use the Circle Pad Pro to actually play the fucking game. I have the Circle Pad Pro. I put it on the desk like you would do with the fucking clipboard that you get with it. I go to
Come
move.
on. Just switch. Dude, switch hands. It feels like you're screwing a stranger.
Serves you right for being wicked.
Oh.
Switch to the European grip.
Fuck off, I'm radical. So trying to control the fucking game without actually pushing the 3DS across the table. Not a very easy feat. Now people would say, "Oh, why don't you pick it up and use your hands?" Yeah, have you tried holding that Circle Pad Pro for a while? You try holding that for any length of time playing a game, your hand will fucking crease. Anyway, that leads me on to good old Mr. Yell Chaos. What have you been playing?
Well, first, before we get into what I've been playing, can I interest you in some duct tape?
No.
You want that fucker to slow down, duct tape's the way, because if you can't fix it, you duck it. Anyway, what have I been up to? I've been playing on my 3DS a little bit. I've been doing Super Mario Land 3D or 3D Land and enjoying that one. I'm working on the special. I'm towards the end of the special worlds myself, and had a great time with that gun. And with a 9mm firmly pressed to my left temple, I've been playing Kid Icarus Uprising. And yeah, it's a sweltering piece of shit. It's not actually that bad. It's kind of like one of those golden chocolate eggs, only to find out there's poop inside. And I was very disappointed because I looked forward to this game intensely. That's what really sold me on the 3DS. And now I really want Reggie Fils-Aimé's head on a fucking spit.
Yay!
And also I've been playing...
Is your body ready?
Well, you know. You know how it goes. But... yeah, and aside from that, I've been playing a lot of Bonk's Revenge on the TurboGrafx 16.
Oh, okay.
Razor Fist?
The TurboGrafx 16 sure is the system.
Well, it is, man. It's the business. Anyway, been a long week, as you may have guessed.
Yeah.
Should
You know,
I go
we,
now
uh,
and tell everybody what
well-
I played?
Yeah.
No, I'm busy bantering with Razor Fist. No, please go on, Mr. Alpha Omegason.
Okie dokie. Let's see. Alice Madness Returns, beat that. Wonderful platforming game. Buy it brand new because you get the original Alice, which was never ported to a console whatsoever, and you get a voucher. You can go and download it. Very, very nice. Makes me happy. If you like the original Alice game, in my opinion, this is better. Visuals awesome. The artwork in general, I just like a whole lot. I always like macabre style anything, gothic horror, anything. When you take something, turn it inside out, and make it into a fucking monster version of something that normally looked like cutesy and happy, then I dig it more. But very good game, good jumping controls, a lot longer than anticipated. Resident Evil Revelations, when beat that, very good game. One of the best Resident Evil games I played in recent memory. It harkens back to the survival horror thing where you have limited ammo and you're going down dark corridors and, you're not slamming your body up against fucking waist-high walls and shooting shit a la Gears of War, a la fucking Resident Evil 5. But no, it is very, very good. I like a whole lot. I love the monsters that they put in it, even though they're not zombies, but they're really cool. They can literally just come out anywhere, take all sorts of fucked up forms, and they remind me of Silent Hill monsters in a lot of ways. Let's see, I beat Saints Row the Third, which was another really good game. I liked Saints Row 2 a whole lot. This one, I mean, you can run around with a big purple dildo and beat people to fucking death with it.
Yeah.
I beat a tank until it blew up with a purple dildo. There you go. That's reason enough for you to at least look at the game, let alone play it. It is a lot of fun, though. I'm waiting. There's apparently going to be a Game of the Year edition of that includes the fucking truckload of DLC that they've made for it. They've been putting out episodes for months now. It's crazy. I haven't gone to try any of it, but hopefully they do that. And yeah, that's pretty much and one other game. Yakuza Dead Souls for PS3. I went and beat that. If you like any of the other Yakuza games, get that. It's literally just a tongue-in-cheek version. It's not meant to be taken as serious, and you don't beat people up this time around. You shoot zombies. So there you go. Fun stuff. That's everything I've been playing.
Yay! And that brings us to the end of What Are We Playing? Or
Video
what
game
do we call
Circle
it?
Jerk.
The video game Circle Jerk.
Circle Jerk. Circle Jerk.
Circle
And
Jerk.
you're
Circle
invited to the center.
All right, and before we move on to our second half, which we're kind of behind schedule for the second half, but who gives a shit? This podcast is too short anyway. We're going to go right into the mailbag. And from the mailbag, we're getting a message from Book Lover 90,000 who says, Dear Yell Chaos, just to let you know, the movie The Wizard came out in 1989, not 1993, as you said on an episode of the Hate Bit podcast.
Look at, we got a fact checker here.
Oh boy.
Yeah, you've embarrassed
Did I
yourself.
say something about The Wizard in 1993?
Admiral Wikipedia to the rescue. Nobody gives a fuck.
But we thank you
Okay.
for paying attention, I guess.
It could have come out in 1803. It's a terrible fucking movie.
I
It's the
love whenever
longest
somebody
commercial you've ever seen.
I love when somebody will listen to something for over 2 hours and they're like, the only thing I have to say is correcting you on just one thing. That was all. Thank you.
About some obscure movie that was a big long commercial with no acting in it.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I'd like to correct you. In episode number 46 of the third season of Star Trek, the Gorn was actually standing to the immediate right of Spock, and then suddenly there was a continuity error, and he was immediately metamorphosed into a normal Andorian. Meow, meow. Sorry.
And that essentially is what it boils down to.
That's fabulous. You know, I don't remember saying anything about that movie, but one thing I have to say about the movie before we move on is, who's seen that movie?
I have, unfortunately.
You have? So everyone's seen it. Okay. There is
No,
a
I
segment
haven't.
of the movie. Remember with the girl when she yells at the private investigator, he touched my breast?
Yes.
Remember that section? Watching that as an adult made me kind of uncomfortable. Like, wow, you can't say that in movies now.
No.
You cannot you cannot dance around sexual molestation. You just can't. Not even in Schwarzenegger films.
Oh.
But
Ooh.
oh, come on. But anyway, the best part of that whole movie is the second part where it comes up and the black guy from Batteries Not Included points a finger and says, "So, you touched her breast." That's funny shit.
I like that movie a whole lot. Batteries Not Included. I watched that like 1,000 times when I was little.
It's better than The Wizard.
Oh,
Batteries
much better.
Is great. That
And it
is,
has Hugh Cronin.
you remember when kids movies were actually kind of good, like Little Monsters or like Batteries Not Included, or that one movie where the little dinosaurs were hanging out with the kid? I forget what it was called.
Anybody remember the movie Short Circuit?
Short
Yes.
Circuit was
Johnny
awesome.
Five.
Johnny Five Alive.
The first one was barely a movie, and the second one was a public service announcement for itself.
The second one was actually pretty cool.
The second one was a piece of shit.
No, it was pretty cool. I wanted one of them little fucking robots that you were selling. I would have
I
one of
did
them.
too. Actually, I thought those were pretty neat. But here's my major qualm with that movie and why I think it's a piece of shit. Number one, who remembers the end part of the movie where they snuck up behind him because he was going to foil the stealing the diamonds or whatever, and they beat the hell out of him. The one guy with the axe and the one guy with the fire axe and one guy with the crowbar. Remember that?
Yeah.
Okay, think about this. That's supposed to be a fucking tank. Johnny Five is a thermonuclear weapon, and they beat the fuck out of it with a crowbar and a fire axe.
Because that's what you do, don't you know?
And it didn't. It apparently has a nuclear core, and it didn't explode. I'm nitpicking. Why are we talking about Short Circuit?
Because it's pretty sweet.
Because it's an awesome kick-ass film, and if you don't like
I love
it...
the idea that somehow a robot that has to weigh at least 6,000 or 7,000 pounds can glide on a hang glider through New York City. Thought that was great.
I would love the fact that I can almost guarantee like at least half our audience is going Short Circuit, and they're like going on Netflix or on YouTube and looking it up right now.
You don't even know it's a movie until you just said Netflix. What, a robot hang glider crowbar?
Never!
That's a deathcore band right there. Hang glider robot crowbar.
You want to know what's sad? I'm pretty sure that it is. And they all have like those weird fucking swooshy hairdos too. And and they're wearing super tight pants that they also have busting a sag at the same time with the fucking fancy colorful belts.
Anyway, moving on in the mailbag. Short Circuit. This next one comes to us from YouTube user Hiatus, and Hiatus asks, or he says, "Hey guys, your show fucking rocks." Well, I knew that. He also says, "It's the best thing I've listened to in a long time. Keep doing what you guys do best, and fuck everyone who says these podcasts are too long." My question to you is, since Silent Hill Revelation finally has a release date, what are your thoughts regarding this movie?
Oh my God in heaven, do I ever have something to say on that subject?
No kidding. Please go on.
Well, first off, your buddies Sainted over at Sony Pictures are releasing the film.
Yay.
And because Sony is the largest manufacturer of 3D televisions in the world, guess what is included in the title of the film?
3D.
3D! It's Silent Hill Revelations 3D, because apparently Silent Hill Returns just wasn't cliche enough. So, anyways, they're including Pyramid Head in the film, even though the film is based off of Silent Hill 3. And Pyramid Head is nowhere to be found because Pyramid Head is a projection of James Sunderland's subconscious, and he has nothing to do with the plot of Silent Hill 3.
No, he's not. He's a big gimmick-driven fucking monster that they keep rehashing over and over again, and now he's a staple character like the fucking nurses that they have in there. They just keep remanufacturing because they are fucking thoughtless.
I'm telling you, he's going to end up in Smash Brothers before long. You watch.
Oh,
Pyramid
I guarantee
Head,
it.
He'll be in Super Smash Brothers. You will.
It makes me sad. Like, Silent Hill 2 fucking set the bar for a lot of the staples in the fucking series, and all they do is keep tossing into a fucking, like, non-stop infinite loop, and they're just like, yeah, just keep bringing it back in. Even Silent Hill, the arcade game, had fucking Pyramid Head chasing you around. It's like,
oh,
why?
yeah, and
Just
okay,
why?
and so it's based on Silent Hill 3. Everybody knows the plot of Silent Hill 3, right? It's the girl walking around, and she's being followed by a creepy middle-aged detective, and they're trying to get her to birth a god. It turns out it's Alessa from the first game. Anyways, So the movie is supposed to follow Silent Hill 3, but she's got a love interest now who follows her around for no reason, probably to restate the obvious because they figured she needed a sidekick to inform the gibbering fucking retards that will comprise this movie's audience of what's going forward in every fucking lobotomized goddamn scene. But anyways, so Pyramid Head's in the movie. The Valtiel, who's the main, kind of a passive antagonist in Silent Hill 3, he's in the movie, which he's in Silent Hill 3, so it follows that it makes sense that he should be in the movie. But he looks like the Licker from Resident Evil 2, the design they have, and it redefines god awful the way this movie looks. I hope it's good. I hope I'm wrong on every count, because I'm one of the 2 people on the planet who actually liked the first Silent Hill film. But yeah.
Yeah.
Hello?
We're still
Yeah,
here.
so I think it's absolutely horrendous. Is anybody else opinionated at all on the Silent Hill subject?
I've not watched the first Silent Hill movie, and I don't intend to watch the second Silent Hill movie, so...
I have no idea why video games still need to be turned into movies. They're all fucking cinema pieces as it is.
Not only that,
I don't understand.
Not only that, they make more money than Hollywood.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, most of these video game movies, in some essence, some lose money, don't they?
Yeah. It's like they still want to.
Didn't the last Resident Evil movie like barely pay for itself?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was also awful, just awful.
Well, as compared to what?
Hey, did you guys hear? I don't know if this is 100% true, but I wouldn't be surprised. Apparently, the people that make the Resident Evil movies are complaining that the character Alice isn't showing up in Resident Evil games and demands that the character shows up in it at some point, being the super extra fucking super powered character that she is, that has no place in the Resident Evil universe but needs to be in the games now for some reason.
Well, I don't know. Albert Wesker's doing slow-mo bullet time backflips like a friggin' ninja, and Chris is punching boulders. Why not have her show up and do a quick time event all of a sudden? Like, it makes as much sense as the normal plot of the games nowadays.
It just, to me, I don't mind. Like, I understand the fact that they want to do adaptations, but mostly my favorite adaptations of video games to, like, cinema is usually in the form of anime. Whenever I got to see the Devil May Cry anime, I was pretty happy with that. I was like, hooray, Disgaea. That had an anime based off of that. I was like, hooray. I can't think of any other one. The Persona games, they have anime based off of them. Hooray! Those are just some examples, but whenever they try to make full-blown movies of it, like the Hitman movie, for instance, why? Why did you do that? Don't do that.
Awful.
And I didn't think the Hitman movie was that bad. But it's the game looks terrible, but the new game obviously. But yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, as a point, it doesn't need to be a movie. It really doesn't. Like, they can make so many other movies about fucking assassins running around and killing people, because assassins are really fucking cool.
I mean, look at Mass Effect. They're coming out with a Mass Effect film.
That's gonna be awful.
The games are already films that never end the same twice, unless you play Mass Effect 3, in which case it's the same ending with a different color. But seriously, why would you want to watch a movie that ends the same every single time and is inevitably going to be a popcorn sci-fi shooting piece of shit?
Yeah.
I don't know. Why do you think that M. Night Shyamalan's so popular?
Well, what was the last thing he even made? The Happening? Did he make that?
The Village, I think it was, wasn't it?
No, he made something after The Village. I think it was The Happening.
Anyways, another.
Well, yeah. I mean, I really wish I could make billions of dollars every year to turn out things that don't have any endings.
Yeah, that just have a twist at the end. There's
you could sell comic books that way.
Have a twist and then say it's clever just because you were like, oh, but it wasn't the guy you thought it was. It was a toaster.
You just don't get me. You just don't understand how deep and how complex I am.
Well, that's just it. With how good these games look, and with how interactive they are and how much they can change on each subsequent playthrough, how superior is a game like the original Mass Effect to its film adaptation that's going to come out? Wait, it's far better, because you can actually interact with this thing. It looks like a movie, but you're playing it. Why would you want to watch this passively with a thing of popcorn in your hand and your Johnson in your other hand? I mean, it makes no friggin' sense.
Well, just like people who complain that video games these days, they don't have the storyline they used to. You're supposed to be playing a fucking game.
Oh no.
It's a game. Do something. You won't even notice, I promise you.
Anyways.
God damn it. Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you my favorite period with the movie adaptation from video games. My favorite instances are Mario Brothers the movie and Street Fighter the movie, because I can remember seeing them as a young teenager. I didn't see them until I was like 12 or 13, and watching it, and I thought in the back of my head, I said, "This is what middle-aged white men think of me." This is really how they perceive this shit. Like, you know, like the Street Fighter movie was about guile. Like, the Street Fighter game wasn't about anything.
And as bad as the Street Fighter, the 1990, I think it was 94 or 93 Street Fighter film, as bad as that is, The Legend of Chun-Li is 1,000 times worse. For anyone,
And that one has Michael Clark Duncan.
For anyone who's seen, I actually did a video review on it. It's just unwatchable. Michael Clark Duncan punches Chun-Li's mom and gives her brain cancer. He gives her punch cancer. Punch cancer.
He punched cancer into her skull. She had cancer on one of his rings. He got it in Guatemala, and he punched her so hard.
Oh.
Cancer brass knuckles. That sounds fantastic.
He probably has that in his head when he punches you. Cancer.
Yeah, eat your heart out, Captain
He just
Falcon.
thinks it, and you have it.
Cancer punch.
Cancer punch.
Yeah, it's punch. Cancer punch. Punch.
Yes. Good old English.
English. Oh. Alright.
So continuing on in the mailbag.
Anyway, our next thing in the mailbag before we move on to the rest of the podcast comes from Kid X Deca, and Kid X Deca says, "Hey guys, really loving the podcast, as well you should. You guys really know your shit, and it feels refreshing to actually find a channel with knowledgeable, open-minded gamers. I'm not sure how long you've been listening, but open-minded is not the terminology you were looking for.
Definitely not.
I'll continue to listen as long as they keep coming weekly. Oh, so it means if we switch to daily, you're not going to listen, you fuck. Anyways, I figured I'd leave it short and sweet, too late, for the four of you, and simply ask what each of your most anticipated games are for either 2012 or 2013. Though I know very little has been announced for the latter year, I, for one, can say that Devil's Third is on my must-have list. Huge Ninja Gaiden fan here, and given that I do trust Itagaki to design/develop something just as great in my opinion. Any thoughts on NG3, by the way? Or just thoughts on the series in general, good, bad, etc. P.S. Just wanted to say thanks to Alpha Omega Sin for mentioning the PSP's emulating capabilities during the first podcast, I believe. It actually reminded me that it even supported this feature with some CFW, of course, and motivated me to to resist sleep until some 16-bit greatness was claimed playable on there. And sure enough, there I have Contra 3 and Streets of Rage 2 right in the palm of my hands. Life is good, guys. Life is good. I imagine he wants to know what we want. So, I forgot what we're talking about. Razor Fist?
We're talking about games
that we're anticipating.
Yeah, I know.
There you go.
That was wow. I was fainting a little bit because I ran out of air.
Yeah.
Anyway, Razor Fist, are you looking forward to anything?
Who? Me?
No, the other guy named Razor Fist.
I didn't hear you. You cut out.
I'm
because
sorry.
Skype is fantastic.
I'm sorry. I was being.
The only reason I continue to draw breath is that Thief 4 is going to be released in the future. I don't know if it'll be good. I don't know if it'll be shit, but it's Thief 4. And that's all I give a fuck about. The other thing that I'm slightly excited about is the World of Darkness MMO. I'm not a big MMO guy, but I love Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines a lot. And I like the Vampire the Masquerade property in general, and I wish there would be more games in that series. But the game looks cool, and we're starting to hear some details about it. That's it. Nothing else, and I mean absolutely nothing else that's going to be released even remotely interests me. Games newer games really just look like shit for the coming year, in my opinion. That's just me. So, now that I've brought us all down, what about you, Sainted?
Lollipop Chainsaw.
Yeah.
That's
You know,
all
you
I'm
could
looking forward to is Lollipop Chainsaw, because there's nothing more fun than actually killing things with a fucking chainsaw.
Yeah. Well, there's a game out there called Onechambara Bikini Samurai Squad, and you could play that. It basically looks like the same thing.
He wants to play something good. where
I'm
he
very
kills things with a
intrigued.
chainsaw.
Basically the same.
I'm very aroused.
Oh
yes.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm always aroused.
Yeah. So
That must make it difficult to put on your pants.
No, I got duct tape.
Well,
Just slide it down to one pant leg, and there you go. Duct tape
There
the
you-
fucking tip, and I'm good to go.
yeah, you could sell your own brand of duct tape for that specific application.
Pretty much.
Oh, and there is
Won't
one
catch
more
on pubic
game.
hairs.
There is one more game I just remembered. Phantasy Star Online 2.
is that being developed?
It's been developed for the PlayStation Vita and the PC,
Sweet.
which actually gives me a reason to actually own a PS Vita because I'm not upgrading my PC.
Wait. Is that the whole reason you're buying the PlayStation Vita? Because you've been talking about that for weeks, and you never mentioned any software. So is that the one that's
That's
giving
the
you
one I
incentive?
want.
Ah? Do you really think it'll be worth the what? $800,000 you're gonna have to take out on your credit card to pay for this thing?
I'll just save up all my pennies and see. Hope for the
Save up all your. Well, that's good.
You could probably upgrade your rig for that price, actually.
Well, it's dropping in price. It's down to about 210 from 250. So. It's
Oh,
alright.
the PS Vita, really?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Suppose it would have
All
to.
right. Well, Alpha Omega Sin, because I got nothing. I don't care.
I have a decent sized list, to be honest. I won't go into super detail on every single one of them, but ones I can think of. Diablo 3, I'm pretty excited about. Let's see, Dragon's Dogma looks like it'll be pretty good. Saying it had mentioned Lollipop Chainsaw. That one I have half paid off right now. Gravity Rush on the Vita, which is one of the games that made me want to get a Vita. The Last Story on the Wii, which is a really, really amazing looking RPG. We're finally going to be getting it over here. Hooray! Darksiders 2, because I love the shit out of first one. Still don't understand why a lot of people haven't gotten their hands on it, but it's a fantastic game. So yeah, Borderlands 2 and Resident Evil 6. That's my list that I can think of off the top of my head.
Yay.
Nice. Well, I actually would like to recant my vote. The only thing I am looking forward to, and you mentioned it in one of your videos about the new F-Zero game, but they haven't said anything about it, so until then, nothing.
Yeah. Dude, as soon as they announce it, like, I'll be absolutely fucking ecstatic, because, I mean, if they come out, like, at E3 and they show it off and they're like, yeah, it'll be a launch title, I'll be set. Like, bring out Mario, bring out F-Zero, please bring out another fucking Earthbound game and act like the series exists. Bring out a Fatal Frame game, because it's built for that fucking controller, for Christ's sake. Yeah. I would like all that stuff. It would
There's
make
so
me
much
happy
they
in
could do. Let's see if they actually make it happen.
They need-
Anyway, do we have anything else in the mailbox? Blah 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 blah.
We
blah,
have
blah.
some things, but it's just a case of whether we can be bothered to look at them.
Well, we got time for just one more from Paul Smith. He's got a bunch of questions here, and I'm only going to be able to. Paul, I'm sorry, we're only going to be able to get to one of them, but that's all right. And if you don't like it, fuck you.
Oh, fuck the
Anyway.
length of the podcast. Let's just answer them all, because we...
All right. Well, no, we don't have that kind of time because I can only talk like this for so long each day. Paul Smith says, hey, I enjoy listening to your show every week when you guys release it. I'm not sure if you guys are fighting game fans, but I want to know... Wait, what? Know if they are still making Tekken Cross Street Fighter.
Yes.
What?
Yeah, they
Huh?
make...
Yeah, they
Street Fighter
as
Cross-
a matter of fact, they're so far ahead on it that it's already released.
No, what...
No,
It
he's
came out-
talking about there's Street Fighter Cross Tekken, and then they're making Tekken Cross Street Fighter, which is going to be the game that controls like a Tekken game, whereas the Street Fighter Cross Tekken controls like Street Fighter.
That's right, because they did.
That doesn't sound like a cash grab at all.
No.
Well, they did
not
the
at
same
all.
thing with the SNK versus Capcom. They had the
Yeah,
Capcom
and
version,
the-
then they had SNK version.
Yeah, and the SNK version was atrocious, which I never thought I'd say, but it was absolutely awful. SVC Chaos is one of the worst fighting games ever made.
Mm-hmm.
But, anyways, I am a big fighting game fan, but not very interested in Tekken. Well, actually, I'm more interested in it than I was in Street Fighter X Tekken. I've played Street Fighter X Tekken, and I can tell you unequivocally, it is the biggest festering pile of goddamn bullshit you will play all year. It is terrible. They simplified all the move inputs. They removed entire moves from previous players' inputs, and we're talking like Street Fighter characters that have had these moves for game upon game upon game. They removed them arbitrarily, like Namco or something. So, yeah. Anyways.
I don't know. I'm a big fighting game enthusiast, but most of the people that I would play fighting games with, I don't see anymore. So my interest in fighting games is dependent on being able to go online and play with other people now, which is kind of unfortunate because I was more into fighting games when I had a couple of friends that would come down and play them, but now everybody just wants to play shooters, and I'm sad face.
Sad face.
Aww.
Yeah, dude, it really is awe. Like, it's fucking depressing because I love just playing the shit out of Guilty Gear and fucking JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and Virtua Fighter and fucking Dead or Alive and a bunch of other stuff. Oh, I am looking forward to the new Dead or Alive game after getting that alpha demo. The fucking alpha demo is amazing. If you pre-ordered the game, they gave you a little code that you can input and download it, and it's fucking awesome. Like, very, very good stuff.
Awesome.
Nice. The next thing that Paul asked us, he says, do you guys think buying an arcade stick is worth it or a worthy investment? Paul, what I can tell from reading your email here is that you're a big fan of fighting games, and all I can say is abso-motherfucking-lutely. If you're an arcade, fighting fan and you don't have an arcade stick, you're going to have cancer of the thumbs. Just so you know. How do you guys feel about arcade sticks?
I'm not asked.
Well,
I'm
I'm
happy
jealous.
playing with the controller as everybody else is.
Yeah, I own several arcade sticks, actually, but I don't use them much. I actually like using the controller, whether it be the PS3 controller or the 360 controller. Yes, believe it or not, I use the D-pad on the 360 controller, and I bust some shit up. But
I find that impressive that you can use a D-pad because the
you
D-pad
know, people
on
have such a
regular
problem
Xbox-
with it. People have such a problem with it. I guess it's just that I've gotten used to it or something. But I don't care for. I generally use the joystick on the PS3 though, because the D-pad on the PS3 controller is one of the problems I've always had with it. It's kind of up and in this like weird awkward angle, so if you use it, your thumb twists into this weird like claw formation, and you get like a thumb cramp within 3 freaking fights. So, but yeah, go get an arcade stick. They're fantastic. So.
You know what's weird? Because we were talking about it earlier. Have you guys had extensive use of the D-pad on the Vita?
No.
It's really good. Like, it's surprisingly good. It's not just, ripped off from a past PlayStation controller and just slapped onto a handheld. It feels really nice. I was honestly surprised. I would like to see them adapt that to a controller in general. And there is one controller, if you can ever find one for cheap, which good luck doing it, but if you can, on PlayStation 3, they have a Neo Geo CD controller. I think it's put out by Hori. I forget the company exactly, but they had made it, and it works on PS3, but the Neo Geo CD controller is amazing, like absolutely phenomenal for 2D fighters especially. If you can't get your hands on one of those, arcade sticks, they're really good, but it depends on the fighting game for me. Some, I'm better with an arcade stick, but for the most part, I need a D-pad to do all of my games, like for fighting at least.
Yeah. Unless you play as a grappler, because then you're going to have to do those 360s constantly, and you need a joystick for. So, anyways.
Okay.
Do your job.
Okay, I'll do my job too. Yes,
Are you
sir.
doing it with a Viking helmet on? You're wearing a Viking helmet, right?
Yeah, I know. It's making it very tough for my headphones right now. Actually, I'm gonna see if someone will custom make me a Viking helmet with headphones and a microphone attached to it.
Dude, that would be
Because
fucking
then I could be a telemarketer too. Make some money.
Dude, a Viking telemarketer, they'll just scream at you and intimidate you. And
I could go to work for
crush you.
Capital One.
Yeah. Just threaten them with rape, and bam.
Yeah.
No, I will promise them rape.
Okay, there we go.
Anyway,
You're gonna
payments
pillage
of
their village
$8.95.
and rape them.
Yes, yes.
you cannot rape the dead. It is simply another form of conquering.
Oh god.
I sense I've gone too far.
Continuing
Anyway.
on.
Moving on, Paul Smith says one more question, and I think this is a dangerous one, but we got time. Let's do it. My friends and I had an argument the other day. Which is
Yay.
better, the N64 or the Sega Dreamcast? I said the Sega Dreamcast, but they argue N64. What do you guys think?
Sega Dreamcast, because I have no experience with the 64. That's my input. And another reason why I love the Dreamcast is because it's basically the platform, well, the blueprint of modern consoles today, with the online gaming, the 4-player support, and the fact that it's a cool white console. So
Nintendo 64.
Only
had
done with the
four.
things that are cool and white. Sainted Magnus?
Hmm?
Nothing. Never.
Nintendo 64 for me, and I would point out that Nintendo 64 had the 4-player support previously, and I think one of the others, the CDI or the 3DO, one of those fucking systems might have had a 4-player
The
previously.
3DO had the piggyback feature.
Okay, something like I don't remember.
It was daisy chain controllers. You had one, and then you had like a plug socket in the top, and then you plugged them in succession.
Yeah, but either way, Nintendo 64 for me, because number one, no loading times. Fuck your fucking loading times and your goddamn CDs and your bacon.
Razor, I think you're thinking about the Atari 5200 that had the 4-player capability very early on.
I may be.
Yeah.
It's possible. But
Anyway, we're not discussing that.
Oh, the
For
Atari
me,
cupboard.
it's from the Atari cupboard. For me, I'm gonna have to go with the N64, even though it does not have that strong of a software library. Don't get me wrong; the games on it that are good are fantastic, and the games on it that are not good are fucking terrible. But I enjoy the controller very much, and a lot of people disagree with me on that. But I think it's a fabulous design. It also looks like an elephant. Also, and that makes me smile.
You'll
However,
never look at the
I thought the
controller again the same.
I thought the Dreamcast was great. I was really waiting for the Dreamcast to have a CD attachment on the bottom. That way they could have two. They would come up with something like that. Sega just had that. Dreamcast was the greatest system that never was. It just never was given a proper shot. But so
If
I
anything, they'd have a DVD attachment.
a DVD attachment to an optical system. Great fucking idea.
Hmm.
I just think they couldn't afford to pay the license to use the DVD technology. That was my theory.
Oh, come on. They made a cartridge adapter for a cartridge-based system. Twice.
Yo, dog, I heard you like cartridges, so we put cartridges in your cartridges so you can cartridge forever.
Yeah, we got one to go up and one to go down. The one that goes up looks like a toilet
Yeah.
or a mushroom cloud. Anyway, and I guess I don't know. What do you think over there, Alpha Omega Sid?
It's honestly a tough choice, but I was thinking about it throughout the entire duration of everybody else talking. I would say that the N64 will slightly edge out the Dreamcast. I base this off of one major reason. The Nintendo 64 had a full lifespan and was able to put out an entire library of games, thus giving it a more robust overall feeling. The Dreamcast had an amazing library considering the short amount of time that it was out. If it were out for the same amount of time, I truly feel that my opinion would be different, as would a lot of people's. But it's pretty much just a testament to its greatness just within that short amount of time. But yeah, N64 for me, with Conker's Bad Fur Day, GoldenEye, Mario Kart, Mario 64, Banjo Kazooie, and things like that. It's kind of hard to both Legend of Zelda games. Kind of hard to ignore its greatness. So yeah, but both games. Systems they fucking own. So
well, when you think about the Dreamcast has an amazing homebrew library. Thanks to the very dedicated amateur developers in the homebrew community for the Dreamcast is still somewhat active for being a system from 13, 14 years ago. So that's pretty impressive. If you compare it to I'm sure there's been fan projects for the N64, but I've only heard of one whereas I can think of at least a dozen Dreamcast titles that I think that have come out this year.
Oh yeah, and
So
Dreamcast. I mean,
that's saying something.
you can still pre-order games that people are making for them. I've seen on the sites, and they put a lot of work and dedication into making the packages because they'll have
Some
a
fantastic.
regular game, they'll have a collector's edition with a lot of stuff with it, and a limited collector's edition, which is even more absurd. But it includes even more stuff, and to be honest, their prices are very affordable considering the fact that these are just like a couple of people working out of their house. It's fucking awesome.
I love
how you describe the N64 as like a more robust overall feeling. You sound like a fucking gourmand.
Dude,
you're like, see, it's got a dry taste, busy but never precocious.
It has a lovely bouquet that's just fabulous for anyone's palate.
Yes.
Hey,
It's
palate,
everywhere
well,
you want to be.
Oh god.
Okay, well, you know what? Since we've gone this far, let's get the last question out of the way. Also, what do you think is the best system of all time? Oh my God!
Here, let me answer
Bandai
that.
WonderSwan.
No. Ew,
Vectrex.
no. That was honestly kind of a cool system, I thought.
Very much so.
Here, I'm going to answer because I have an immediate answer because I don't have to even think about this. Favorite system of all time, PS1. And it used to be Nintendo for the longest time, but the PS1 easily, it did the most for the fucking industry as far as like a transitioning stage. Going from Nintendo and Sega Genesis and stuff like that into the PS1 where we went with CD quality and we had CG graphics and we had things like Metal Gear Solid and Final Fantasy VII popping up that went and took things from just being like video games into like making them like movies and cinematic and everything. And things got a lot more fucking violent with the like actual content in games and stuff, and they had third party lockdown like a motherfucker. Their library was absolutely amazing. They stayed around for a long ass time, and it was Sony's first like parade into the gaming market, and they whooped ass. It was fucking impressive. So yeah, that's it for me.
PlayStation
Someone
1
else.
for me. PlayStation 1 for me for pretty much the same reasons, but also it was the fact that it was the first system I actually bought for myself, and it was the first system I started collecting for as well when I was growing up. And like you mentioned, after coming off the Sega Mega Drive and the Super Nintendo, and actually experiencing something that truly was revolutionary, because in this country it was promoted like fucking God knows what. We even had a ride at Blackpool named after it called. Now you know that fucking pointy thing at the top of that bloody sky tower in fucking Las Vegas,
Yeah.
where it pings you up.
Stratosphere.
It's one of them.
Yeah. It was one of those free falls.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So.
By the way, if you want to learn more about the Stratosphere Las Vegas, make sure to go to channel youtube.com/yellchaos, and you can see all kinds of neato stuff about the Stratosphere.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug, absolutely, 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
My favorite, if you go best of all time, I haven't the vaguest idea, but my favorite was the Super Nintendo. Why? Because it's Nintendo, who already had, the entire world's balls in their hand in 1990, mind you, and said, well, we got the Super Nintendo, and they squeezed them until they were a nice blue. And then over the next 10 or so years, they decided to piss the entire kingdom away. But whatever. Razor Fist.
For me, I kind of have a nostalgia vote, and then in terms of actual features and games that I enjoyed, I have an overall vote. First off, for nostalgia, it's always for me gonna be the original NES. When I got it kind of late. My grandpa bought it for me. I didn't even want a video game console, to be honest. I was one of those kids who didn't really care. And my grandpa bought it for me one Christmas for no reason. It came with Ninja Turtles and Ninja Turtles 3, the Manhattan Project.
Hell yes.
And I fell in love with video games, and I got to play Mega Man 2 and 3 and all these fantastic games. That's my nostalgia vote. In terms of overall features and in terms of just being impressed by what a system could do, I think the largest leap in gaming was the Xbox in 2001, the original Xbox. because, and I'm not that crazy about the 360, but I think the original Xbox with the onboard hard drive and the ability to listen to your own music in game, being able to rip your own CDs, not having to fuss with memory cards anymore, having 4 controller slots, being able to just plug an Ethernet cable into the back of your system and be on the internet instantly was genius. And every system that's out now has stolen all those ideas, all of them. So that's and combining that with the games, like a lot of PC ports. That was the big thing for me. I didn't have money for a nice gaming PC at the time, so I got to play games like Deus Ex 2 and Thief, Deadly Shadows, and KOTOR and all these games. I got to play them on the Xbox. So I really enjoyed that. I wasn't crazy about the Japanese games, so my PS2 kind of sat there and collected dust. While my Xbox, I was playing KOTOR and all these, Western games, which is where the industry has since shifted focus. So it was kind of ahead of its time in a lot of ways. It was in second place, but towards the end it started to pull ahead because once again there was a polarity shift, a paradigm shift between Japan and the West. So I still like it most. I think in terms of overall features, for me, it's the original Xbox. But that's me. Sorry, I over-explained that, but fuck you.
No, that was actually like a pretty good explanation.
No, that was very cogent. You know what? Golf clap. Golf clap.
Dude, I'm doing a fucking library clap with the 2 fingers and shit.
He's doing the 2 fingers. He's doing that
Yeah,
for
man.
it. We should be on a golf green. I should have heard that. You should have stood at a podium when you said that. That was fabulous.
No, the Xbox though. The thing is, I honestly hated the system when it first came out, and then I got my hands on one, and my opinion changed immediately.
That was the same for me. I had no intention of buying an Xbox. I kept hearing from my friends. You remember the rumor that came out when the Xbox came out that it would just freeze if you so much as looked at it? That it's constantly freezing. It's constantly crashing.
Oh, there was a lot of fucking rumors like that floating about.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. I think it was just, it was a lot of fanboys of GameCube or of PS2 that were just, they didn't want to buy a third system because it was freaking expensive. So they had to come up with some reason not to buy it. There were rumors about the PS2 and the GameCube just like that.
Oh, another reason why the Xbox was so badass, at least for me when it came out, and almost immediately, was it seemed like Sega showed it a lot of love. They gave it Gun Valkyrie, they gave it Jet Set Radio Future, they gave it Sega GT, they gave it Panzer Dragoon Orta, and I was just like, I am all about this shit, and that's awesome. And another cool thing is a lot of games that you would see that would go multi-plat, they would have offline 4-player split-screen multiplayer. Like, for instance, if any of you out there are ever just bored and looking up for, like, a shooter, get the third Time Splitters game and play it on Xbox. One of the best fucking experiences ever.
One of the most underrated, like, 3D adventure games on the original Xbox was a Sega game, actually. It was Headhunter Redemption. It was the sequel to the original Headhunter. Pretty freaking good, actually. I went back and played it like a few years back, and it's cool. There's all these little hidden gems in the Xbox library, like games that weren't promoted at all, like Dreamfall: The Longest Journey.
Dude, that game is really fucking good. I found out about that last year.
Yeah, the game's amazing, and it's a sequel too. There's a first game before it, and Still Life. Games like this.
Played the? I don't know if any of you guys have heard of them, but I compared them to Devil May Cry, which it's not nearly as fast, but it was the easiest thing I could compare it to. But they are called Otogi.
Yeah. I've heard of that.
That is Sainted, Chaos. You guys hear of those at all?
Yeah. Not particularly.
I ended up getting them because when the Xbox first came out, they would have like the demo CD or demo DVDs rather inside the systems, and that was one of the games. And I remember when Circuit City was still open, I went in there, looking for games. I walked up to that, played it the entire time, and then just a couple of days later went to the store and got it, and was just like, I fucking love this game. The second one is, I don't know, it didn't quite grab me as much, but still, I really like those games a lot, and they're exclusive for that system.
Yeah, and then of course Elder Scrolls at the time was exclusive to Xbox.
Oh yeah.
And well, not exclusive. It was also on PC, but as far as consoles go, it was only on Xbox and and Jade Empire and all those BioWare games. Because at the time, BioWare was first party Microsoft.
It was.
So, Yeah, so some of those games weren't even out for PC yet, but I mean that was the main reason why I liked it. So I think we've fairly thoroughly answered that question.
Yes.
Super thorough. But there you go. We have our love for our systems and everything, and even gave the Xbox a whole bunch of extra love because, you know, it deserves it. But
You
all
know,
the
there's one
systems
thing
are
that I
fucking
want to say
badass.
about the Xbox before we move on real quick. If you look at the system specs between that one and another system, in a perfect world, the Xbox would have been called the Sega Dreamcast 2.
Yeah.
It was very Dreamcast-ish. I love the Dreamcast, and it was like the Xbox was just the Dreamcast that used DVDs instead of CDs.
Well,
And a
that's
hard
what
drive.
it was. That's what it basically was, because it's basically the blueprints of what Sega wanted to do with the Dreamcast 2. And when they left the hardware market, Microsoft bought the rights.
Basically.
It's kind of funny to think. Just imagine if they would have decided to go and hook up with Microsoft and put off the release date of the Dreamcast and just wait. Can you imagine how different the marketplace would be right now if it was Sega and Microsoft under one umbrella?
Holy shit, that would have been fucking huge.
Yeah, it would have been a big deal because, I mean, Sega was already faltering. Microsoft being a big company that was coming into it. And keep in mind, everybody, this is just like us throwing out a big what-if scenario, but just imagine, like,
There should be a comic book based on this.
Yeah. I mean, it literally would have been absolutely amazing, like Super Saiyan amazing. Like, just thinking about it, because, you know, Sega's a big company. If they had the funds and backing of somebody as big as Microsoft, and Microsoft had the exclusive library of somebody like Sega, holy fuck, man. That's like you couldn't fuck with them after that. You know, no matter how you look at it, they would definitely like be making a ton more money. That would just been crazy. Damn, now I'm gonna have a wet dream tonight thinking about this shit.
You already are, mate. You already are.
I'm having like my wet daydream in the middle of a podcast. Sorry, everybody, about the mess. But don't worry, I got some paper
Just
towels.
clean up after yourself. That's
Yeah,
not what we're
I
about.
will. I'm courteous about that.
That's very good. That's very important. Those are necessary life skills.
Anyway, I think we've answered enough off that.
Yeah, that brings us to the end of what's going on in the mailbag. So we're going to take this time to have a stretch. All right, that's enough. Anyway, moving on to what would have been the second half, but now it seems like the second third of our broadcast. The Xbox division of Microsoft loses $229 million last year.
Yes. Excuse me. Sorry about that.
Please join us next time on Fanboy Wars. Anyway, Razor Fist it was really going to tear into this one, so I'm curious what he has to say myself. Razor Fist?
I think it's fairly self-explanatory. It's primarily because Microsoft is not focusing on software anymore. They're a video game company, and they're trying to be just a hardware company. They're focusing on things like the Kinect and just selling bundles of the 360 and shit like that. And they really should have been focusing on software because that's where their strength is. And in the past several years, they've let companies like BioWare and Bungie and all these exclusive first-party developers, they've let them go their own way and make terrible, terrible sequels to their games and join EA and the like. And they've lost their focus on software. So I think that's fundamentally what it's about. They don't have games that people want to play. Multi-platforms are still, generally speaking, better on the 360, but you're not going to sell a console solely on multi-platforms. You're just not. You got to have exclusives. So that's what it is, in my opinion.
No, you're right about that. They had such a dramatic shift with the Kinect coming out. The Kinect was a catch-up of trying to go and grab that Wii audience that Sony and Microsoft both wanted to have so fucking badly. And to be honest, they were long gone. Yeah. Like, their interest had waned so bad. It was like you aren't going to grab them unless you're making like the fucking Today Show and your headline news on every fucking magazine, and you're sold out in every store, and everybody's still clamoring to get a hold of you for fucking like 2 straight years. That's how you grab the Wii's audience, is with the news and every other jack off fucking wanting to get your system just for the sake of having it. But yeah, they fucked up with the Kinect really bad. That was a lot of money down the drain, despite how impressive the fucking camera itself is.
The camera, the hardware is impressive, but the thing is, it's only being used for stupid waggle, and it's being used as a glorified Wiimote without a fucking controller in your hand.
Am I the only one who thinks it looks like Johnny Five's head?
No, it does, and you're right. And I honestly want to build one now based off of the Kinect.
That would
Like,
be,
have my
that
own
would be
joint.
awesome. That would be awesome.
But the thing is, like, truly,
it's-
if the only way that they're going to like be able to capture anybody's interest with the Kinect outside of the casual market that they targeted and have failed miserably is by getting some first-party developers or exclusive third-party developers behind it that understand the tech and really do something with it instead of just going and putting out fucking stupid Let's Dance games and party games and shit like that. Because all you're doing is reiterating the same fucking bunch of bullshit that made the Wii into a fucking laughingstock to most gamers.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. And that's it's really telling that within just a few weeks of the release of the Kinect, someone had already hacked it and was using it. They had set up. It's hard to describe this, but basically they had set up 4 Kinects in a room at opposite corners, like basically like a square around him. And so he's sitting in his. He would sit in his computer chair, and basically he had infrared camera on him for every square inch of the room. And he set up a program on his computer so that he could see himself in 3 dimensions and actually interact with this 3D environment that was mapped out, by him in his room. It was really, really interesting. He could actually move the camera around and see himself from different angles and shit like that.
Dude,
That's
like,
way more impressive. That's way more impressive than anything they've done with Kinect thus far. And that guy's
Absolutely.
an amateur.
The thing is, if you get bored, like anybody listening to this, if you get bored, just go online and type in Kinect hacks. I'm dead fucking serious. Type it in and look at all the amazing shit that pops up. If you do it on YouTube, you actually get to see like a visual representation of like what somebody's imagination can do with just this piece of technology, and they're apparently like trying to implement the Kinect into TVs and stuff now. And apparently the next Xbox is going to have it like built into the system and everything just for like navigation purposes. And like
That's
the menu.
really scary.
Yeah.
Oh, it is, because it's going to be watching you jack off. I'm telling you. Like, you ever think that you're fapping alone? You're not. Your Xbox will be watching you.
And pretty soon you'll
everybody
be
will
able to
laugh.
type into Google, you'll type in, Xbox Connect spy videos, and then you'll see if you can find a, nice, pixelated, AVI file of you fapping it to reruns of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah, but it is. The Kinect is pretty much something that they really need to just go, and they got the patent for it. What they need to do is start just selling it off to people. And if they're going to keep it on the system, make some good fucking games for it. They're really not behind the system. It's like, you want to know what makes people want to buy a peripheral? Games. If you have no fucking games, then what am I going to do with it? Nothing. That's just like the PlayStation Move. It gathers dust. Why? I have nothing to fucking play the games with.
Allow us to just state unequivocally, by make games for the Kinect, we are not referring to Han Solo breakdancing and fucking Star Wars Kinect, okay?
Yeah.
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a game that couldn't blow the fucking paint off your goddamn house. What a terrible, terrible game. That is not going to sell Kinects. And the sad part is they did see a jump in sales after Star Wars Kinect was released. So there is some dangerous, deranged individual out there who is actually interested in
I'll
watching
tell you
Han
why.
Solo break
The only
Or maybe
reason,
they hypnotize the masses.
dude, the only reason that they see a jump in sales is because they're counting the sales of the bundles, and they have those exclusive bundles with the Star Wars one, with the C-3PO and the R2-D2. That's the only reason why they're seeing a jump in sales, because they're including the bundles, the Kinect bundles, and a lot of people want to snag those up because, quite frankly, it's a fucking nerdgasm of a console. It's a fucking C-3PO fucking controller and shit, and R2-D2 console. Oh yeah, people want to buy that because it looks fucking awesome.
It looks all right, but to be quite honest, why would you want to spend another $300 fucking on a fucking Star Wars console just because it's got George Lucas's fucking trademark slapped all over the fucking side of it?
That's exactly
Jesus.
why, because it has
Jesus.
George Lucas's stuff all over the place. That's exactly why.
I'm a shrieking Star Wars fanboy, but I cannot see myself purchasing that.
Well, I don't know. It kind of falls into the same brackets as Xbox fanboy as well.
Ouch.
I don't like my I don't understand where you're getting this from. I don't like Microsoft. I despise Microsoft. It's just that PlayStation can suck my fucking dick until I feel a draft.
It sounds like you're having a conversation with Al Bundy. He's like, how many times do I have to tell you I don't love my wife? I mean, shut up. But that doesn't mean anything. Just because I haven't killed her doesn't mean I like her.
Oh.
They're the lesser of two evils, is the way I see it. Because the PS3 is shit.
PS3's awesome. You just haven't seen it yet.
I've played it. I mean, I've reviewed tons of exclusive PS3 games, but it's just not a good system. Anyways, continuing on.
Continuing on, we're on to the.
Get way the fuck over here.
I know. All right, continue on.
Well, we can't. We've lost it. We're dead in the water. So now we just have to move on. Well, see, everyone's sad now. Anyway.
The next story.
Tekken producer says no pay for DLC will be included in future Tekken releases.
Yay! Woo! Free DLC. We're actually
I'm gonna hold them to that. That's all there is to it.
Don't believe Andor's lies.
Yeah, that's my thing. It's like, I'll believe it so long as you don't do it. Meaning, I'm going to watch you like a fucking hawk. In a minute that you fuck up, I'll be there to pick the bones.
Yeah, so remember that, guys. The 8-Bit Podcast is keeping an eye on this sort of thing, and we're finally at that point where we have enough power to squeeze his nuts. You watch.
All right, come on, guys. Tekken isn't gonna have fucking DLC for the character. Bullshit. If you believe that, you believe that naked, bare-breasted supermodels will descend from the fountain of fucking chocolate and hand out blowjobs to all the fanboys in the land.
Apparently, you haven't hung out at my house then.
Clearly not.
My backyard's fucking amazing. I assure you that.
Do you live in Willy Wonka's strip club?
Maybe. I can't disclose that information because then people will start using Google Maps and find me.
We want to view paradise.
That is fucking perfect. That was very well input, and that's also what she said. But still.
Oh. No. Yeah, they said I don't know if it's no DLC characters, but
no DLC characters.
They're just it's bullshit.
See, they specifically say no DLC characters, and while I can honestly believe it to some degree, I do believe that they will charge you for costumes and stages and music and then more costumes and more costumes. Yeah.
They like costumes.
Yeah, they really do.
I remember that was all the rage in Resident Evil 2. You can go in here and change costumes. Who gives a shit?
I don't know, I thought it was pretty cool running around as Jill Valentine in Resident Evil 2.
I liked running around in Resident Evil 3 as, was it Regina from Dino Crisis?
I did.
That I thought was really fucking cool, because I was like, I'm killing zombies, but as a Dino Crisis bitch, oh yeah.
That's a series they need to bring back, actually.
If this shit gets going any further, you're going to play Resident Evil 6 as Kelly Ripa.
Sweet.
I don't know. Oh, actually, one thing to play off of what Saint had just said, if they are going to bring back Dino Crisis, for the love of fuck, ignore Part 3 like it did not exist. I do not want to see dinosaurs in fucking space, because that's when you know that things have pretty much just they're done. Like when you put it in space, that's the end. That means that it's dead and it's never coming back. It's in space, and then after that, it's a reboot. So we'll probably just get a Dino Crisis reboot.
So they've jumped the shark in space.
Yeah, they did quite a bit. The only thing that was even cool about that was this, like, the entire ship would change and shit like that, but that wasn't enough to save it from the fact that I'm fighting dinos in space. Space dinos. No, and no. It's just not good, especially after Part 2. Part 2 was awesome.
Part 2 was the best. I loved it.
I
played that game to fucking death.
Do either of you other gents have any experience with the Dino Crisis franchise?
No, I'm remarkably ambivalent on the subject of Dino Crisis.
Well,
Chaos?
As am I. I saw it in a store once.
Ah, there we go. All right.
Wow. So you do have experience.
Is that different or?
Not well. We'll give you brownie points. Yes, it does.
There we go. There
All
we go.
right.
Yes.
Well, at least you guys know about that.
I saw a blimp.
It's survival horror with dinosaurs, but the third game exclusive to Xbox, sadly. And what was fucked up was Capcom gave an exclusive title at the time to Xbox, Nintendo, and Sony. Sony had Devil May Cry at the time. Nintendo had Resident Evil 4. That was funny. And and Xbox got the fucking shaft. They got Dino Crisis 3. I was like, damn. They were done raw. I mean, just like sandpaper condom right up the old fucking hoo-ha. That was awful, man. But yeah, and no, this isn't its own subject, but now it is. Sandpaper Hoo-Ha, Dino Crisis 3, Dinos in Space, Jumping the Shark. There you go. All right, now we can move on. Look at that transition, folks. It's fucking professional.
Yeah.
And our last item of discussion for tonight, Razorfist, I'm going to need your help. This one is entitled Ubisoft versus some guy who wrote a book.
Yeah. Ubisoft was sued by John L. Beiswanger, a Z-list sci-fi author, for the use of basically the idea of the Animus in Assassin's Creed and the idea of reliving genetic memory of your ancestors, essentially. And now the fanboys have beached themselves and are clamoring their way onto Amazon shores to downvote this man's books, despite the fact that they've never read them, and they openly admit they've never read them, and the only reason they're downvoting his books is because they want Assassin's Creed 3. That's the noise they make. And yeah, it's pretty fucking retarded, and I sure do hate Assassin's Creed fanboys. Because if you're if you're still interested in this series after Brotherhood and Revelations, you should think about cutting back on the lead paint chips. You should think about dialing back on
Once
the
you pop,
fucking
you
head
can't
trauma.
stop.
Seriously. So that's my 2 cents. It really pisses me off because this guy probably has an argument. I mentioned it in a vlog earlier this week. Basically, this guy, his novel number 1 comes from 2003, so in strict chronological terms, he did come up with the idea first. And second, because the series originally didn't include the Animus. It was just going to be a work of historical fiction. It was just going to be about a medieval assassin in the Holy Land, killing Saracens and Crusaders. And that's all it was. There was no sci-fi at all. And another kind of damning element is they kind of pulled this concept out of thin air at the 11th hour. So, and it's the kind of pretentious sci-fi that I could see Patrice Desilets reading, also. It's the kind of, I could see a French hipster with a fucking emo-ver reading this book very, very easily. But, anyways, that's...
Is it on the Irate Gamers book list?
No, it's on Oprah's book list.
It's on Oprah's book list.
I was gonna say I refuse to believe that the irate gamer can read.
He doesn't read. He just looks at the words and thinks, "Oh, they're nice and pretty."
Oh, dude, he just uses picture books. That's how he writes out everything. Every single one of his quote-unquote scripts is nothing but picture books that he does with finger paints because he is fucking moron.
I honestly think he just parts his teeth and sound falls out.
I'm pretty sure brain cells fall out. Oh, wait, no, that would be assuming that he has any. Fuck me. Well, I guess I'll ditch that idea there. Oh, but back on point about this, I do think that it is kind of fucked up that this dude's work is getting butchered online because, anybody who isn't savvy enough to know about the ongoings in the video game world will just see this guy as like a 0.5 star rating out of 5 on all of his books, so obviously you should avoid them like a plague. And it's all because his work may have actually been taken away from him. And what's more fucked up is the developers didn't want this boring fucking concept in the game. They just wanted sweet assassins running around and murking motherfuckers and jumping off 12-story buildings into haystacks, okay? That's what they wanted, and I'm fine with that. But you know what? Who wanted it? The motherfucking publisher. Ubisoft, the evil fucking cockbags. I hate them. That's all I can say.
Yeah, well, that's all it was. They were like, hey, we got to find a way to link these together so we can have sequels out the fucking ass until the end of goddamn time. So go ahead and come up with something. And then, lo and behold, the Animus was born.
And what's worse about it is, and you know, we had talked about this before. The worst part about it is they don't need the Animus at all. It is fucking boring. No one likes it. Nobody goes and makes Assassin's Creed to play that. All they have to fucking say is, I'm an ancestor. Alrighty, let's go. Okay, just give us a little backstory. Like, I taught my fucking son how to become an assassin. It was sweet. Now he's an assassin. There you go. I don't need to have this fucking bullshit strung together to go and make sequels. You don't need that. It's fucking silly.
Yeah, it would not. I mean, how much better would the game have been if it had just been, if Assassin's Creed 1 had just been, okay, you're an assassin in the Middle East, this is a work of historical fiction. They might have had to work on the actual flow of the narrative a little bit more, and it might have actually made the game a little better. Although I still think the first Assassin's Creed game is a really good game, but they might have had to fix, they might have had time to fix some of the repetition issues that the game had. It would have been a stronger product overall.
Here's the thing, even if they didn't, you know, get the narrative and everything down in the first title, you know, the second title and the third title can go and make up that difference, so long as you get the foundation strong and going, which they did. But the thing is, they have this tacked on section of the game, which stands out like a fucking sore thumb that's on fucking fire and has, like, sirens and shit. You know, it doesn't make sense to have there. Nobody enjoys it. It's boring. And it's fucking irrelevant, and now it could be landing them in hot water, and the only people that are going to suffer, the fans of the series and the fucking developers who worked their ass off on it, and the publishers could, you know, Ubisoft, they could give a shit less. You know, they already made their fucking money, so they could give a shit, man.
Basically. It would have been good, it would have been better without it. Fundamentally is
oh yeah,
basically the way I fall on it.
Absolutely. Nobody's ever going to fucking go and defend it like, yeah, but I really like those sections because you know, you walk around and you go and you play footsies with and tits and oh, you got your little paper slippers on. It's awesome, right?
Oh.
Yeah, totally. Much better than being a fucking assassin.
To be quite honest, the whole Animus sequences, right, the whole Subject 16 fucking bullshit that's in there where you have to climb various fucking buildings just to find the glyphs, he gets very redundant very, very quickly. And Desmond is just, he's
awful.
You might as well
What's the matter? You don't think he's a whirlpool of personality like I do?
If he's a whirlpool of fucking personality, then I am the most interesting person on the fucking planet.
Hey,
Yeah,
I didn't say what the whirlpool was of. It's fucking sewage.
Oh, it's fucking sewage. But
If anything, there's personality, and he is the whirlpool, sucking out all the fucking personality into an endless void that will never, ever be seen again.
I'll tell you,
Fucking sucks.
a piece of fucking cartridge paper has got more personality than fucking Desmond Miles.
Okay, fucking dried up lemon peels covered in fucking dog piss have more personality. Like,
Yes.
Desmond is terrible, and he.
God damn, what kind of bars do you go to?
Because
I go to the cheapest bars ever.
he's a cheap asshole.
That's
He
where
goes
they
to
have the slags at.
No, he goes to the no-fly zone. That's right.
Or the back way
No, I
in.
like where they have the slags. You know, the slags, man. That's what it's all about.
Slags
now.
and the slatterns.
And don't forget the back way.
He goes to Club Nintendo, is what you're saying.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I'm trying to get the new system off the ground here with the new name because Wii U isn't cutting it. Now Slags, on the other hand, that's definitely cutting it.
Hell yeah.
Nintendo slags.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that does it for the
Yeah,
news.
that's a lot of rage, man.
That's a lot of rage. But
Hey, we're the
Yeah.
motherfucking hate bit podcast. That's what we do on a fucking professional level.
And we haven't even filled the tank yet. We still got the rant, bitch.
oh
yeah,
yeah,
I know. As far as Ubisoft versus the author, just to be a contrarian asshole, I'm gonna say, yeah, fuck this guy. I hope they stick Rayman in his ass or something.
Wow, you could be hired as IGN's lead editor. I mean,
Oh,
you
as a
could.
matter of fact, I could. I could also tell you that, the Wii U's not going to be so powerful, and as we all know, technical prowess is the most important thing in the video game industry.
Obviously, it's all about the herd derp graphics.
Derp,
It's not in
derp,
first
derp.
person. I'm not playing it. No online
Exactly.
multiplayer. My God, this shit is lame.
My God.
Anyway, Folks, we thank you for joining us. We're about to get into our last section, your favorite section, my favorite section, the rant. Before we get into the rant, I just want to let you know that we are on Facebook, if I didn't say it already, facebook.com/the HateBit Podcast. Also, I'm checking this out on YouTube, so go ahead and check it out there. Any questions, comments, concerns, please leave it in the box provided below, or personal message, or at hatebitpodcast@gmail.com. And now for your rant, the mighty, ribbed for your pleasure, Razor Fist!
Oh, yes. Now, I was going to opine briefly on the subject of a week or so ago, Phil Fish, the project lead for the recently released indie game Fez, he was asked a question. Okay, for the uninitiated, allow me to set the stage. A week or so ago, Phil Fish, the project lead for the indie game Fez, when asked a direct question on the state of the Japanese game industry by a member of the Japanese game industry, responded unequivocally with the words, "Japanese games really suck." And in so doing, he immediately imbued untold legions of grating globular land masses called fanboys with a purpose that doesn't involve a handful of candy, a playground, and a windowless van. Within hours, his Twitter account was awash in accusations of racism and ignorance, ironically from pasty-white cherubic sea creatures who think Spike Lee's finest film is Malcolm the Tenth. The simple fact remains that no one would be offended if his words didn't resonate with at least a granule of truth, and it's for exactly that reason that some of the biggest names in the industry have since either conceded the validity of his statements or out and out vociferously agreed with them. This past week, actually about a week and a half ago, Mega Man creator Shinji Mikami was added to a growing list of respected and influential Japanese developers who concurred with Fish's sentiment, a list that now includes names like Silent Hill's Akira Yamaoka or Hideo Kojima. So allow me to say it outright. Japanese games don't suck. They blow. Like Tara Patrick in a fucking wind tunnel. It doesn't bring me pleasure to voice in that observation, but here's why I feel justified in doing so. Because it isn't like the Japanese game industry had this fate foisted upon them on Sad Wings of Destiny. Good fucking album. They brought this shit on themselves. If the Japanese industry had been more open to fan feedback and critique, maybe they wouldn't have made the same Final Fantasy game 5 fucking times and bored their Bolean audience into catatonia. Every time the fans suggest a new game, concept, or even a relatively innocuous modification to an existing product, the knee-jerk response of the average AAA Japanese developer is to direct a referral to the inside of their upturned nose. And it's precisely that mentality that firmly wedged Japan's game industry into the fiscal quagmire they find themselves in at present. Asking Namco to open itself up to gamer feedback is like asking them to elect a fucking dolphin as Prime Minister of Japan. In my Final Fantasy XIII review, I made the remark that it felt like Matomu Toriyama was crouching on my shoulder, quietly whispering the phrase, "We know better than you," for the duration of the prohibitive fucking pastel proceedings. What's sad about that statement is that it's true for most of the Japanese game industry, and sadly, increasingly true of the Western industry as well. There's economic and environmental factors as well. For one thing, Japan has been in a recession that's perhaps more accurately described as a low-grade depression since about the early 90s and late 80s, which wouldn't be such a problem if they could get through an episode of The Simpsons without being rocked by 12 major goddamn earthquakes, which explains why, if hentai is any indication, it usually takes a tri-dicked cyclops and a fucking centaur man to ensure a Japanese woman can actually feel the earth move. And now Capcom wants me to register for an account on CapcomUnity.com so I can suggest the next franchise they should resurrect? Yeah. Well, listen, asshole, if I wanted an Asian man to ignore me, I'd eat at Samurai Sam's. That suggestion box is headed for the incinerator along with most of Sony's stock options. Consider fucking yourself. I'm Razor Fist. God fucking speed.
Clap, 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 clap. Look, I even have people here clapping. Hey, clap louder. Yeah, you got ladies clapping for you, man.
There's a much bigger budget on the Alpha Omega Sin show. He can afford to hire backup clappers.
Yeah, I've got ladies clapping here. It's pretty good.
Ladies clapping.
Yeah,
oh my God, we've crossed into the next level.
Yeah.
We've broken
God damn. When he lays the vitriol, he lays the vitriol.
Yeah. So.
And
well, Alpha Omega Sin, what do you think?
Here's the thing. He's right. Everything that he said, he's right. He's 100% right about everything. I mean, the Japanese market is all fucked up. It's kind of hard to describe without living there, because I would be pretty ignorant to say that I understand when I live in America. But the thing is, I do love a lot of the Japanese games. I just don't want them to go and abandon the way that they do things and then just try to emulate the westernized way of making games, because essentially they're just playing Me Too and they're never going to play catch up. They should just continue doing what they do best, because that's won over gamers for decades now, and I'd rather that. That's just me, though, personally. I'll continue to support them so long as they keep putting out promising content instead of shipping over all their prized fucking stuff over to people like Ninja Theory. So yeah, that's me.
So that part of the problem, though, I have to break company with you a little bit on that, is that the Japanese game industry, part of what got them in this is that they didn't change. They didn't evolve. But I do think it's a problem for them trying to just say, oh, look, we can be like the West too, because that's not going to get them where they need to go.
I mean, it's definitely true. I mean, yeah, they do have to evolve and they do have to change to a certain degree. But like when I'm talking about, I mean, I just don't want them to abandon who they are ultimately, and then say, oh, I'm putting on this mask now. Look, now I'm somebody different. And it's like, but you're not that person. You're just wearing a fucking cheesy mask. It cost you $2. I watched you pay for it. And it's like... That's the thing. It's like, I like the way that they do games, because, they have an outlook that we don't. Look at a lot of their very unique games. That's something that you wouldn't see come up in Western games, because we don't live there. We don't understand a lot of the stuff that, that they're talking about until it's explained to us. And I just don't want to see all that abandoned and then just see things like, fuck all. What is that one game that was a complete ripoff of Gears of War? There was another one, not Resident Evil 5, by the way. I can't think of the name, but
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's on 360 and PS3. Yeah. I cannot think of the name of it. It's so fucking bad, though. Put it this way, it was bad enough that they took the demos down. And oh my god, I had the demo. I actually saved it on my PS3 just so that people could play it, and I deleted it not too long ago to save space. But anyway, it's made by Tecmo too. But it's just an example of, please stop trying to just be like everybody over here and think this is what we want. We just want generic shooters all the time. If you want to go and garner our support, then put out good fucking quality products and everything, not things like Final Fantasy 13. And anybody who's listening is like, yeah, but that was I don't fucking care. I fucking hate the game. It's shit on a fucking stick, and the stick is fucking it's awful. Don't you fucking understand? Like, it's bad. That's the kind of shit that we're being force fed. It's like, no. And half the good Japanese games, they're popping up on fucking handhelds, where they're being ignored even further because most people don't even fucking give a shit that they're on there. Yeah. I'm now going on a fucking additional rant. Look, I'm the DLC fucking rant to Razor Fist here. So yeah. That's my 13 fucking cents. Somebody else take over. Holy shit.
Where do we start? Well,
the unlucky 13.
Yeah, where do we fucking start? Right.
It's a big subject, man.
Oh, Japanese games in general, right. I'm just going to say this in as little as possible, because you pretty much covered it yourselves, but they seem to like releasing the same title over and 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 over again. Example: Final Fantasy 4, Final Fantasy 2, Final Fantasy 1, Final Fantasy fucking 6, Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8, 9, 10. They've released it that many fucking times in different fucking formats. It's on fucking PSN. You can have it on physical media. You can have it on fucking PC, of all things. You need to get back your originality, basically. That's what we're trying to say.
I think really it's not a matter in a way. I think it's not a matter of altering their approach. It's more a matter of just coming up with new ideas, to apply their old approach to. They don't come up with new IPs, basically, kind of like the Western industry. I wouldn't mind playing a traditional JRPG in the style of a Breath of Fire or the good Final Fantasy games. As long as it was a new IP, as long as it was a new story, as long as there's something else to call it aside from Final Fantasy 7 goddamn billion.
See,
know?
that I actually miss those style of games. I really do. I've thought 1,000 times. Like, there's the one RPG was a Resonance of Fate, by Tri-Ace, and I was really, really excited to play that game. I heard so many good things about it, and I played it, and I couldn't get into it because the battle system is a fucking mess.
Yeah.
And-
Or look at what was it? Infinite Undiscovery.
Yeah.
Or the other games that came out. Square Enix released 2 of those games: Infinite Undiscovery and The Last Remnant. And they were really similar, and both games had the same problem. They tried to do too much with the battle system, and they weren't confident enough in the old JRPG formula to be a little bit more traditional.
Yeah, that's the thing, is they keep on trying real hard to be something different and trying to innovate, because they're like, we got to bring in a new audience. People don't want to play turn-based RPGs. And it's not even so much it needs to be turn-based. I mean, look at Star Ocean, look at Grandia. Look at the Tales games. You can run around in those like a motherfucker. But the thing is, I actually want a turn-based RPG now. It's like there's been such a fucking drought. I would welcome it with open arms and then some. I'm waiting for stuff like that, and it's just not cropping up the way that it should. When you brought up Breath of Fire, I would fucking kill for a Breath of Fire 5, and not Dragon Quarter. That game doesn't fucking exist in my eyes. I want a Breath of Fire 5 and done with the same exact quality of content that Breath of Fire 3 and 4, especially 3, because I love that one the most out of the entire series, next to 2. But just amazing games. Another one would be nice, but the thing is, knowing Capcom, they turn it into a fucking shooter, and they would make every single character, I'd have to download them, and some other fucktard thing just to fucking ruin the experience.
Would it be badass?
You have to swear allegiance to them in some sort of ceremony.
Yeah, that's the thing.
My dream game. Are you ready to have a little circle jerk with me again?
Sure.
My dream game is a Breath of Fire game that is more realistic, that gets rid of the anime. Am I hearing clapping? It's
I heard masturbation, but that was me.
I don't know what was going on, but like a more realistic one. Get rid of the anime style. Make it a little more realistic and gritty, in the style of a Morrowind or something. It can be stylized, but a little more realistic. And then have it be open world, but keep the squad idea from the original games. So imagine like Oblivion, if you had a party of 4 and you were walking around like that. That would be freaking amazing. The battle system could be real time, or it could be turn based or whatever, but I would blow my fucking wad over that game. So yeah, that would be awesome. Any new idea would just be fucking fantastic.
I would really just like to see a return to form for old school like JRPGs. I really do. I know that there's a lot of people that say they don't like them, and I've heard that time and time again. Meanwhile, everybody's just like absolutely working their junk over, the Elder Scrolls games and like Fallout and stuff like that. I'm just like, well, I mean, those games are good too, but the Japanese do RPGs a way that I like quite a bit. And
the Japanese RPGs seem to follow very strictly the formula set forth by early Dungeons and Dragons games. In other words, actual RPGs.
Well, some do. They got in that turn-based strategy rut in the mid-90s where it got very, very, it was more about the turn-based battle than it was about the role-playing, really. And they started just telling stories. Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VIII, you know what I'm talking about. So, but I don't know, if they could kind of walk that middle ground where there's a little more role-playing, maybe even being able to customize your character like in a Western game, and have a little bit of a Dungeons and Dragons edge to the old-school JRPG formula, I think it'd be a friggin' masterpiece.
Well,
the thing is, there's a lot of games that they could just literally try to resurrect because they were ahead of their time and never got the time of day because they weren't really put out there for the populace to go and scoop up and spend their hard-earned money on. Look at Vagrant Story on PS1. That game blew me away. I literally was astounded when I played it. I was just like, wow. From the art style to the music to the intricate battle system, I was just like, holy shit. And this isn't even counting in the amazing story, which the entire world and the story kind of remind me of FFT. And I was just like, hey, this is really fucking cool. But the thing is, at the end of the day, nobody really bought it. Nobody really gave a shit. And even had the Squaresoft branding on it. And this is before Square Enix and even before Square EA, which is even more fucking retarded. But the thing is, those are the kind of games that I want to see come back. I have to go go and resort to playing them on my handhelds because they pretty much, like, JRPGs get treated like second-class citizens in the gaming world now. They're pretty much going the way of beat-em-ups and shoot-em-ups, which is depressing, and I don't want that to happen because as much as I like stories where I get to, choose all the dialogue and I get to customize my character and everything, I actually want them to create a character, create a world, and I want to just unfold in front of me like one big fucking novel that plays out for me, kind of like a movie or something. I dig that quite a bit. I mean, I like having the best of both worlds, don't get me wrong, but, I miss JRPGs for that one main reason, and god damn it, they need to come back. Also, Persona 5, the end.
Bravo.
I think on that front we kind of need to wrap up now.
Yeah, I think we're
Yeah.
done.
Damn, yeah, wow.
We've been some chatty Cathy's this time around.
Yes,
Oh, yeah. And if you
It's
got
past our
problem with the length,
bedtime.
fuck off. If you got a problem with the length, fuck off. And
If you have
If
a
you
problem
got
with the
problem
length,
with the
ask
length,
your mom.
Oh. If you have a problem with the length or anything else, don't forget to contact us at hatebitpodcast@gmail.com. Also the Facebook, also on YouTube. Check it out. It's also provided in the description box right below the podcast. So, I'd like to thank you all for tuning in. It's been a long one, so for those of you that didn't get enough, you greedy bastards. Anyway, we're the Hate Bit Podcast. Raise your fist.
Hello, and Godspeed, fellas. Thanks for listening.
Alpha Omega Sin.
I love all of you and pancakes. I brought that shit back. Yeah.
Ooh.
Sainted Magnus.
I love waffles.
You just have to be difficult.
He just has to be
Yeah.
contrarian.
Hate Bit Podcast.